talkSPORT Sports. Or head to your local Nissan van centre.
With your headlines at 1 minute past 10, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Thomas Tuchel says his England players should get the credit they deserve now after a thumping 5-0 win in Serbia.
I think we played in purest teamwork that you can play. I saw a humble team, I saw a hard-working team, I saw a physical team today that helped each other out, love to play with each other, love to work for each other.
The England fans also impressed. Their behaviour has been praised by Serbian police. That's despite a number of incidents involving Serbia supporters. The game was stopped as a laser pen was shone in Ezri Konsa's face. Tuchel now has a selection headache with Madueke, Anderson and Rodgers all superb, while Konsa and Gahey were composed at the back. John Terry's told talkSPORT Tuchel will need a bunch of versatile defenders next summer.
Stones has been injured a little bit, so Ezri's come in and done well. There's other players that can come in, and Levi's out and kind of injured himself at the minute as well. So, I mean, listen, you've got to be adaptable in the national level as well. I see that I think in one tournament I played with 4 different partners.
Meanwhile, Chelsea are at Brentford live on talkSPORT this Saturday night. The Premier League returns to talkSPORT on Saturday lunchtime with Arsenal at home to Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest. Craig Bellamy hopes Wales meet Canada again soon, but in a World Cup, he's absolutely fuming with Jesse Marsh, who shook his assistant coach's hands before the final whistle as Canada beat Wales 1-0. Republic of Ireland boss Jaime Helgrimsson will consider his position after a 2-1 defeat to 105th ranked Armenia. And the owners of financially stricken rugby league side Salford Red Devils are facing questions today over trying to buy their community stadium using a fake bank statement. Salford co-owner Curtis Brown's told The Sun, every document we've supplied has been true and accurate. In the Super League, Catalan's Dragons go to Leeds Rhinos. That's live on talkSPORT 2 tomorrow evening.
talkSPORT News.
Poland's called for an urgent NATO meeting to discuss Russian drones that crossed over into its airspace, and Britain's ambassador to the US says he regrets his relationship with paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Buy 2 or more Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres and claim Bridgestone's massive 20,000 mileage guarantee. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
Rain and showers, heavy and thundery at times, moving northeast through the day. Some sunny spells, turning cooler from the west, windy in the southwest with possible gales.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We're live on talkSPORT. So England hammer Serbia 5-0 in World Cup qualifying. Was this the statement performance that England fans have been calling out for? Meantime, Evangelos Marinakis lays out his vision for Nottingham Forest. So can Ange Postecoglou deliver on the remit? Also today, should fans prepare for the great World Cup rip-off? Does AJ versus Fury still get you fired up? Would there be any point in hearing Isak's side of the story? And how much should off-field issues tar a sporting legacy? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We're live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
I don't know about you, Simon, but I thoroughly look forward to a Wednesday because Wednesday equals Danny Murphy.
Indeed, very much so.
Thank you, Jim.
Danny, and I mean
it sounded sincere, but
you spoke so well last week, mate.
Thanks.
On a whole variety of issues, not least the one that was affecting you and a few footballers from many years ago. And you got it right. I mean, you never miss. And this morning will be no exception, I am quite sure. Before I forget, good morning to Mark, who I met in the reception of a health centre in Richmond yesterday. Just getting my bloods done.
Turkish bath.
Mark, semi-retired now, a huge fan of this show and a big fan of Mr. Jordan's. And he was my postman in Brentford. I did a double take. It's you, Mark. Yes, Big England
All those final
fan.
demands he delivered, Jim.
Yes, exactly. That's right. Jim, this is from the bailiff. He's outside. So, Mark, you've had your health issues, mate. I wish you well, and I'm delighted that you enjoy the show so much. Fan of Danny's as well, you were telling me, and a big England fan as well. So you no doubt would be pleased with what you saw last night. England hammered Serbia 5-0 to move one step closer to World Cup qualification. It's down to this now, Simon. I mean, it's moving apace. If Serbia versus Albania is a draw next month and England beat Latvia away, your place at the World Cup is guaranteed. 5 wins from 5, no goals conceded in qualification for England. Before we hear from Simon and Danny, this is Tuchel post-match.
We played the game how it plays out, and we were very strong. I think it was teamwork in its purest form. We helped each other out. We had the right intensity in the right moments. We put the work in to not allow one shot on target for a strong home team. And if you want to do this, you need to support each other. You need to play disciplined and keep the intensity up. This is what we did, and players did excellent. So full credit to the team. We had, I told you before, we had a brilliant week from start to finish, and this was the proof of it. We
Wow, 5-0. I'll put it to both of you. Was this a statement performance that England fans have been calling out for?
Where are we on the sensation meter today? Doom. We're going to win the World Cup. We're going to win the World Cup. Good performance. Good performance. Job done. I mean, ultimately, England did what they should have done and did it very, very well and in a very accomplished fashion. It doesn't rain. It doesn't make it a downfall. And it doesn't make it a bright, sunshiny day. It just means that the narrative around Thomas Tuchel will dial down a little bit and he's got a good result. That's it. Job done.
What do you take from it, Danny?
Well, I think the shift in the media attention towards England from negative to positive is good and healthy for the players and for Tuchel. Can just get on with the job in hand now. I think the most positive thing is some of those lads who aren't particularly experienced and played loads of times for England did really well in a decent level of game. High pressure, high profile. He's got a few headaches now. Well, not that he'll be worrying about that because you never know who's going to be fit by the time the World Cup comes round anyway. So that conversation regarding who plays where and who's going to come back into the team, it's all a bit nonsensical because until we're closest to the time, players could be injured, out of form, and then he's only got certain players to pick from anyway. But overall, really positive. I mean, I never felt that it was that negative, recent performances anyway, compared to what some did. And I wouldn't go too far in the praise for this one because all it showed is what a super group of talented players we've got. And when they're at it, they can hurt you. We've got an abundance of talent in the forward areas. You know, Rodgers came in and did really well. Madueke played his best game. There's lots of positives for Tuchel to take from it.
I mean, I see this.
But he won't get carried away.
Well, the headline in the back of the Times, I think, is right. Lift-off at last. Why did it take a little while before you got lift-off?
Well, I don't think any other game they've played is a big enough fixture or a good enough team for them to have lift-off, even if they'd won them all 5-0 anyway. You could argue the friendly against, I can't think now who beat them at Forest.
Well, Senegal, you lost
Senegal,
1.
yeah, but it was a friendly at the end of the season where players want to be on holiday. So I took that for what it was as well. So this is the first game, really, they've had a decent opposition, supposed decent opposition, with something really tangible at stake that they could make a statement. The rest of them were walks in the park, weren't they, generally?
I mean, I think for the first time, this coming from a humble Glaswegian, this is what you're going to get with Tuchel. You've waited long enough, but this is what, even he was like, yeah, you know, this is what we're looking for.
I think the one thing
I get it.
The one thing you're going to get with Tuchel's England when it comes to the tournament is they're going to be more proactive to win the ball back than Gareth.
Domineering. Is that a feature you want to see more of?
Yes, more intensity. They'll be more proactive on the front foot. You'll see that for sure. And the other thing will be, which we'll have to wait and see in the big moments, is in-game decisions that Gareth was criticised. I mean, they're the two things you're going to...
This is your England. You're a proud Englishman,
Well, this is-
Simon.
there's
I would have thought you really are pleased with what it signals last night.
No, because I think that the media's reaction, or sections of the media's reaction, is absurd at times. Now, all of a sudden, there'll be a section of the media that building this up as lift-off. It's one game. We beat the Serbians 5-0. Fantastic result. Great on paper. Doesn't make a blind bit of difference to what we're going to do in the World Cup. We've still got the same challenges in the World Cup. We've still got the North American climate. We've still got teams out there that are slightly better than us. The one thing that Tuchel will bring, which is my big ask of him is the know-how that wasn't there in my mind to be able to navigate certain decisions in games that got away from us, whether it be
which
Croatia.
reflects in in-game management.
But you wanted England to be more proactive, Simon. They were that last night.
But I wasn't.
Take it to the opponent.
But I sat with you in the studio on Monday saying, so what if we didn't beat Andorra 5-0? Job done. We won 2-0. I'm not interested in any of these. England are going to saunter into the World Cup as a result of their qualifiers. It means nothing, and they'll probably go through their group stages because it's long since departed. And credit to Gareth Southgate that we have any nerves about whether we're going to qualify for the World Cup qualifying group. It always used to be, the third game. Going back to Gary Lineker against Poland or whatever it was, we've got to win the third game. We normally go through the World Cup qualifying groups. All of those are fine for me. It's when we come up against the opposition that we've come up against repeatedly in the last 8 years, where we've just got an on-paper position of we're not the favourites in this game, and out we go. This is what Tuchel was brought in for, those games.
What about the personnel, Danny? A host of usual starters didn't feature. Saka, Palmer, Bellingham, Foden, and yet some bright performers for you last night. Madueke, Elliot Anderson, Gehi Konsa. I mean, can he afford to sacrifice some of these established names come next summer for the guys who have done it as you qualified?
Well, I think all he can do is try and get as many of those fringe players or players who aren't what you call his first choice up to speed in terms of playing in decent quality games like that one and see how they do. And when they do well, he knows he can rely on them. So that'll put a bit of confidence in him when he's making his choices for the summer. If everybody's fit and everybody's playing somewhere near, there's a core of players that will definitely start.
Is Bellingham an automatic starter?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got Pickford, Gay, Rice, Bellingham, Kane as your spine. I'd be amazed if any of that changes as long as they're fit and playing reasonably well.
Yeah.
Don't see. The rest you could argue is all up for grabs. Maybe Saka is the other guarantee. But I think there's 4 places. Maybe 5.
But having these younger players nipping at their heels will keep them honest.
Good, yeah.
At international level. And I don't mean that they're dishonest. It means keeps them focused. They can't. If you've got a swathe of young players that are proving to be able to step up to international level in the positions where the established order is already there, the Bellinghams that we talk about, then you keep Bellingham focused. You keep him honest in terms of his intentions and what he feels he has to deliver for his country. I know Danny talks about players, and I understand in the real world, but I don't think it's acceptable that players can dial in a performance against Senegal. You're playing in front of home fans. You're playing in a game that the Senegalese are going to be up for.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give anybody any favours by losing a game. So the fact that also what Tuchel would have been disappointed about is this is my England. You don't have a pass to not turn up when you don't feel like it or be under aroused. When you play for England and you play for me, every game counts.
So the games matter. Hang on. So the games matter now.
Well, not the friendly games, no.
These qualifiers don't matter.
No. The result didn't matter in terms of whether we beat them 5-0 or 2-0. That was the point I was making on the weekend. If we had not have beaten Andorra, I would be in the camp of saying this is not good enough. But we beat them, and then we were saying, well, we didn't beat them well enough. We beat them.
Did you enjoy the Andorra performance?
No, it was turgid.
Yeah.
It was tepid.
I think in these qualifiers, Danny, no matter who you're playing, you send out a blinking message. And that's exactly what Norway did last night. Moldova doesn't exactly signal must watch. They beat them 11-1. Haaland scored 5 times.
Who cares about the message from Norway?
Are we beginning to think, blinking heck, Norway might just get there? And if they do...
They're going to win the World Cup now,
with people... No, they're not. But
what message
probably neither are you. But if they do...
And your lot.
Sanderberg and others in there, Haaland, it would be interesting to see what they do. But they're sending out a message to me saying, well, you bet we want to get to the USA next summer.
There's always going to...
That's how they draw your lot then.
All right.
In international fixture week, there's always going to be some big results because pub teams play bigger countries with established players. The difference is when teams play Norway is they won't sit off them like did England and give them that. They'll think they can have a little go at them and leave themselves open. The reality is it doesn't matter. Simon's right. It doesn't matter if England... I mean, if you take the game against Andorra, it was 2-0. I had a look at the highlights again on Monday. And
were there any?
They missed a hatful of chances, England. It should have been 5, easily. poor finishes.
Yeah.
And got themselves in good position.
See, Norway will say last night it should have been 11. Oh, hang on, it was.
But it don't matter. We'd still beat Norway 9 out of 10 times, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I love how you're sniggering at Norway.
But I'm trying to work out what message you
I'd love
give
to see
Norway.
Haaland in a Norway.
I think what he's saying is...
I'm sniggering at your characterisation of it. What
It's
message?
a style of performance.
But Norway are not going to...
You've gone from these qualifying games
Moldova.
mean nothing to... No, it's good. We want to see them win. We want to see them win. You don't get a pass if you don't turn up to play for England.
No, they're different questions that I'm answering.
Oh, I see.
We're talking about the man. England won the game. That's it. End of discussion. England's biggest problem is not winning qualifying games. We can do. You and I can go and run England and can win qualifying games.
I doubt that.
It's not about. Well, definitely not you. Yeah, perhaps. But you definitely cannot make the case for England to overcome obstacles in the World Cup, and that's Tuchel's job. That's all I'm interested in. That's what Tuchel's getting paid the big bucks for.
Before I demit myself, surely, Danny, it's got to be to a large degree the manner in which you win. And that's why Tuchel said last night, I saw this, I saw that, and I saw the next thing, and I'm happy about it.
Well, the manner in which you win is less relevant at international level than club level. I think if England had won against Spain in the final in the Euros, we wouldn't be criticising them like we did.
Absolutely.
It just didn't get over the line. If you win at international level, it doesn't matter how you win. Club level, you can win unfashionably and still get criticised. We've seen that with many managers.
Right. Well,
so at international, in answer to your question, no, it doesn't really matter.
Good point, Dan. Well made.
Thank you, Danny. Let's put it out there. I mean, was it the statement win that you were hoping to see at some stage along the line from England? I mean, it ain't darn bad, is it? Serbia 0, England 5. Or does it matter? Does it matter how you win as long as you win? You might want to give us a call on that. 03717 223344. And as I say, even I was impressed with England last night and the manner in which they did it. Give us a call, 03717 223344. No Saka, no Palmer, no Bellingham, no Foden, no Jack Grealish, who's 30 today. Happy birthday, Jack. We're live in talkSPORT. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, Wednesday, September the 10th. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT. We're going to get to the interesting topic very soon of World Cup ticket prices. And do you remember dynamic pricing? That's reared its head again. We're going to get to that because you are going to be flabbergasted with a capital F as to some of the money that you may have to stump up. Imagine if England go deep in this tournament, which Simon hopes they do, and Danny hopes they do. What might you have to pay for a ticket? It's going to amaze you. It's going to amaze you. Were you amazed last night in the scoreline? Serbia 0, England 5. Was this the statement win, England fans, that you have been waiting for? 03717 223344. Going to come to a few of you who are calling in at this time, and thank you for doing that. Before we do, Danny, are you beginning to get an idea now of who's going to start for England once you get out there next summer?
Well, as I said just before, if everyone's fit and playing reasonably well, there's 5 or 6 who you'd nail down. The spine that I said, and probably Saka. The rest is still up for grabs to a degree. I think if Reece James is fully fit and playing minutes for Chelsea, he'll start for England. He's the best all-round right-back we've got.
Where are the opportunities for those on the outside looking in?
Midfield, next door to Rice, who's going to play there. Elliot Anderson's done a brilliant job at trying to grasp that the last 2 games, but he's got a full season ahead of him to keep playing well. But he's got a chance. Left back's up for grabs. Next to Gay, he's up for grabs. I think John Stones will still have something to say about that if he can get himself fit. He's probably our best one in terms of experience. Left side, up for grabs. You know, Madueke, Gordon, Rashford, whoever.
Madueke looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks hungry. I like his intensity.
Did he not, Simon?
Oh, yeah. I just think he's a bit one-dimensional. I watched him in the Arsenal in the game against Liverpool, and all I thought he did was just do one thing, which was just
pace,
run the channel, and didn't do anything different. Didn't give the fullback anything else to think about. Never put the ball in early. Never did anything slightly different. But he is effective, and I know that there's the Elanga and the Callum Hudson-Odoi sort of mould that does a very similar thing to him.
Yeah,
at the moment he's the most effective of that bunch, isn't he?
His numbers are pretty good for a wide guy in terms of assists and goals since he's become. Since he got in Chelsea side and not so much at Arsenal yet, but his numbers are pretty good. But he's not going to play ahead of Saka's. If Saka's at his best, Saka plays.
Right. Just before we go to the calls, one last chance, Simon. Is this not a bit more like it? If you're an England fan, surely last night you come away thinking, that's why they brought in Tuchel.
It's great for the cheerleaders, but I'm not a feast or famine merchant. So I don't look at it and go, well, we didn't do what we could have done against Andorra and beat them 27-0. So all of a sudden we've got a famine. I think it's a great result. I think it gets people off Tuchel's back. It gets people to start to look at it from a different point of view. I mean us in the media that have a tendency to rabble-rouse and turn it into a crisis.
No, but hang on. I remember your face when we left in Qatar after the England-USA game.
I'm stuck with you.
And your face was tripping you. About the performance and the way England had gone about it, or not gone about it.
My performance,
and you were stuck with me.
Yeah, absolutely. My face was as long as a fiddle when I went to watch the USA game because it was boring, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a dreadful game when we were watching the USA pass us off the pitch and they had a centre forward there to beat us.
There's Marty, a Tottenham fan. Morning, guys. Love the show as always, but it's total nonsense to say it doesn't matter how we win. It gives the players a huge boost in how they play, how the lads show up last night, do the job. Win is a win, of course, but surely it's the manner in which they go about it. Now,
well, it helps, but my point
doesn't define.
If they actually win a tournament, it wouldn't matter how they did it. Yes, the performances have been poor in some of the tournaments, and we've still managed to get through, which is fine if you end up winning it. You do want your team. We've got talented players. If they let off the leash a little bit, we will see better performances. I'm not worried about that. Ideal world, you want both, but at international football, if you win, nobody cares afterwards if you've won.
But how long have we been hearing, let them off the leash?
Too long.
Yeah,
but he will. You can tell. He's not going to play like Gareth played in the tournaments. He's not going to do that.
I saw it for the first time last night.
Yeah, and he says it anyway. He's not going to go against his will.
He's a philosophical coach in some respects in terms of his measures. I mean, when Chelsea played Man City in the Champions League final, he played a certain way because he knew that the opposition was playing against was better, and he'll do that at international level because he's like Lennox Lewis of football management. He wants to win the fight that's in front of him, so he'll put the team out to win the fight that's in front of him, and he won't care about what we in the media say, and neither should he.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding.
Well, he won't care what you say. John's a big Manchester United and England fan. John, good morning. Was it the statement win that you've been waiting for, John?
Morning, chaps. How are you doing? You all right?
Good,
All
mate,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, to me, I'm on the same boat as Simon. It was a win. That was it. There was little things that I could see that are coming, and the reason why we got Tuchel and we haven't got Gareth Southgate, and they will come to fruition in the big tournaments. And that is whether he's got the cojones to make the right substitutes and formation changes when we're playing against these big teams that are overrunning us, or if substitutions that the other team makes and we counter that, that's what I want to see. And I saw a bit of it last night with his attacking style and on the front foot, and you can already see bits and snippets, which obviously Danny, being an ex-pro player, can see that, and obviously I can see it with being an ex-semi-pro player, that you can see certain aspects of it changing already. And with Gareth, he was a defensive-minded coach, and with Tuchel, you can see that he's a tactical engineer and that his style is changing already.
Yeah.
But I sit in the same with Simon. It's qualifiers, a win. That is it. That's all I'm talking about.
And John, let me get this right. You're a Manchester United fan calling in from Grimsby.
Yeah, I'm a Grimsby Town fan. That's where I was born and bred. Yeah, up the Mariners.
Oh, right.
So he's not a Man United fan. He's a Grimsby fan, and Stay on My Boat it's a super yacht as opposed to the old tugboat that Jim's on with his opinions.
Here's Chris, who's a Liverpool and England fan. Chris, good morning. Style of the win. Does it matter to you?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Good morning, Chris. What did you think? Was this the statement win you've been waiting for?
It wasn't the statement win. It was the statement performance. For me, it's a big difference. I mean, I could have pretty much told you how the 2-0 game was going to go. It was horrible to watch. I couldn't get into it. But I knew last night's game was going to basically be like, Serbia have got a bit more about them, and it's like, well, okay, let's see kind of what you've got here. And I thought we played excellent. And I hope that he does. I thought Anderson was superb in midfield.
Yeah.
I thought, obviously the other players there as well. I thought I really like Mark Gaya at the back. For me, what I always struggle with is that when we go into like big tournaments, I think a lot of the time we're too predictable. I think you can pretty much name what team was going to get played in each of the games, thereabouts. And I agree with the previous caller. I think he stole actually quite a bit of my thunder, but I felt like that when we need to sort of like have to step up.
Yeah.
You
did it.
Put a performance in. Yeah, we did. But sorry, I think Tuchel is very different. This is my point. Tuchel is very different than Southgate. Southgate was too defensive, in my opinion. And I think I really like Tuchel's honesty. I think he's quite he seems to me like he's more transparent.
Okay, Chris. Listen, many good points here, and thanks for the call. Do you think, Simon, come the time next summer when the big call has to be made and you have to make a big decision to turn round a game and beat an opponent you're not fancied to win, do you think Tuchel is the right guy to be in the driving seat?
That's why he's there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very good distinction that the caller made on your behalf, which was it's not a statement win. So a statement win is a statement performance. A statement win is when you beat the French, is when you beat the Spanish.
Yeah.
Those are statement wins.
All right. You're in a mood this morning.
But it's good that he made that delineation for you because you were struggling with that.
Not at all, but thanks for putting the P in pedantic. It's 10:30. We're with you live in talkSPORT, courtesy of Selco, where the trade goes.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earn 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
Wednesday morning, just gone 10:30. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy live on talkSPORT. As always, you can watch us wherever you look really these days. We are live on Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch, we will be there. And you can watch us live, which is great. And so many of you are doing that. So many of you will want to go to the World Cup finals next summer. Of that, there is no doubt, because this thing will gather pace, will it not? If England continue to play like they played last night, many England fans will want to be out there. Many Scotland fans will be out there, Simon, of course, in the hope that, well, obviously, if Scotland qualify, etc. So I would very much like that to happen, wouldn't you?
Yes, so that I can enjoy you getting sent home.
Thanks for that. But here's the thing, World Cup tickets go on sale this week. Be prepared for one giant rip-off. Because for the first time at the World Cup, FIFA have now confirmed they'll be adopting the dynamic pricing model for the tournament, where prices fluctuate depending on demand. Dynamic pricing. As a result, prices will swing dramatically. For example, standard admission pricing for the semi-final between Chelsea and Fluminense at the MetLife in the Club World Cup. At one stage, they were originally priced at $473. But 72 hours after that, they came down to $13.40. And that was because, you guessed it right, demand wasn't there. But of course, the further England go in the tournament, and they will, of that there is no doubt, I concede that, you can expect huge price hikes. Now, it's not just me that's saying that. I mean, FIFA has already said it expects to make over $3 billion on ticket sales from the competition. So that means prices are going to be high. You don't need to be Einstein to work that out. But now others are throwing their hat in the ring here, watching it from distance. In fact, somebody who's pretty close to it is currently leading the race to become mayor of New York City. And here is Zoran Mamdani. And he has launched a game over greed petition that calls on FIFA to abandon dynamic pricing for the World Cup. and he's pretty outspoken about it.
World Cup's coming to New York next year, and as a lifelong soccer fan, I couldn't be more excited. But are any working-class New Yorkers actually going to be able to watch the matches? Pre-sale starts tomorrow, and for the first time, FIFA is using dynamic pricing, where they're going to figure out in real time how much they can get away with for charging a ticket. The tickets can be resold on an official FIFA platform with no price cap. That means you can buy a ticket for $60 and sell it for $6,000. And unlike the last 3 World Cups, there's nothing set aside for residents. What this all means is the biggest sporting event in the world is happening in your backyard, and you'll be priced out of it. That's why I'm calling all soccer fans to go to ZahranforNYC.com/GameOverGreed to demand FIFA and dynamic pricing. Place a cap on resale prices and set aside 15% of tickets for local residents at a discount. Let's call this price gouging what it is.
How about that? Delivering his own message. Zoran Mamdani. New Yorkers might have him as their next mayor.
Let me guess. He's a Democrat.
What's that going to do with anything?
Just the nature of the way the World Cup was orchestrated by Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the leading light behind getting the World Cup in the first place. The fact that Infantino calls up his backside at every opportunity, that doesn't surprise me. Not entirely sure what it's got to do with him.
Well, what Zoran Mamdani didn't mention was that it's also been confirmed that FIFA will operate its own resale platform, which will have no cap on secondary sales. So you get a rough idea, Simon.
Biggest show on earth.
If you're England, Danny's England, people out there listening this morning, you're England. If you go really deep in the tournament, it's going to cost you a fortune.
Always has.
It's going to cost you a mint.
But it always has. I remember buying World Cup tickets for my father.
No, it hasn't. This is the first time we're having dynamic.
But I can tell you what ticket prices cost in 2002 because I paid for them. I can tell you what the World Cup final tickets cost in 2002 because I gave them to my father to sit on the halfway line and watch it in Japan. So I know what they cost. It's always been expensive, and inflation added to it. Yes, I understand the argument about dynamic pricing, but where does the money from FIFA go? I'm not a lover of FIFA, and I'm not a lover of these opaque organisations that you don't see the transparency through. But the purpose of the World Cup revenues is to do what? It's supposedly to redistribute around the world of football to be able to enhance and increase the value of football and the opportunities for football to be played around the world. It's a not-for-profit organisation. That's its purpose. So with due respect, if it's lining the pockets of corporations, you can make this argument. And we can make the argument about the profligacy and the influence that FIFA should and shouldn't have. But the reality of FIFA in its finest form, there is 104 games in this World Cup. There are 6.5 million tickets to be sold. Right? The fact they're asking to sell 3 billion, you look at the stadiums. The stadiums have got these 16 stadiums are going to use. The average capacity is going to be 70,000. So they're looking at 65,000 tickets per game, which I did the numbers at, and it looks like if you were just to distill it down, it's $500 a game per ticket. But that's of course before you discount all the high-end tickets that are going to be put into play. I would imagine there's going to be a quota, an allocation of something like 15 to 20% of the tickets are going to be at a certain price, and the rest are going to be on a supply and demand basis. And that is the nature of the beast. It's the biggest tournament in the world.
But second guess it for me. What's the demand going to be like?
Well, it depends upon who's playing and then what stadiums we're talking about.
Yeah, of course it does.
If you go to the stadium,
if Tuchel guides you to the quarterfinals, you're going to have to dig really deep in your pocket to watch them.
But that's the cost of elite sport.
But aren't they just taking over dynamic pricing from the underworld? And if you like, dynamic pricing is ultimately what happens through touts on every event we have.
Well, dynamic pricing is ostensibly what you see in the holiday market and in the airline market, and we all go raving mad.
But it happens with tickets anyway.
Yeah, to some extent.
Why are they using it here at the World Cup for the first time?
Because it's about revenue generation. Why did America get the World Cup in the first place? Because Donald Trump turned around to FIFA and said, "I'll get you between $10 and $15 billion for this World Cup cycle." So it's all about money. There's no debate about this. But the fact of the matter is, where does this money go? If the money goes back into a circle to feed the football family, to increase their investment into countries around the world that are developing their football fraternity, like Arsene Wenger talks about, where's the problem with this? I thought everybody wanted a very healthy football cycle.
Are you dubious as to where the money will end up? I mean, that is the figure. That
I'm
FIFA
dubious about
expect
corruption.
To make $3 billion in ticket sales.
I'll take whether obviously there's cost aligned to that as well. They're going to take $3 billion. So with that in mind, I'm mindful of it because we've seen this organisation gorged on corruption. We've seen this organisation gorged on profligacy and overreaching its own influence. So yes, I am concerned about where the money goes, but I'm not offended. Whether I'm well-heeled enough to be able to buy a ticket is irrelevant. Right? I'm not offended by football being capitalistic in its greatest show on earth, which comes around once every 4 years, and people don't have a God-given right to go to. It is unfortunately the nature of the beast. It's not the players that are sucking the money out.
Are you for dynamic pricing?
I understand.
I know you're a capitalist.
I understand.
You look at this, you think, this is right.
I'm a responsible capitalist, not an irresponsible one. I'm a supply and demand merchant. It cuts both ways. They will use this dynamic pricing to cut both ways. When you've got some poxy game with 104 games that are out there now with some of these 2-bit countries that are going to be in this tournament,
you get in there for
$5. You're going to get people going into these stadiums and getting in there for 2 and 6.
And also, I do get...
That'll be few and far between.
There's lots of angles.
Your lot there.
The one thing he did say, which did resonate with me, was the lack of availability for local residents in the
New York City area.
Yeah, I think that should be a little. People who live in that area should get access to try and go to the game.
Well, I don't know how that works. He says. I mean, that's one city. Don't forget, there are a raft of cities that are going to be playing and hosting in this particular tournament, and he's just playing to his particular gallery.
Yeah, there's a host of games happening in his city.
Yeah, but
you said, what's it got to do with him? Well, that's what it's got to do with him.
Not really.
And he might be mayor by then.
But not really a lot to do with him, because the mayor doesn't have much influence over what's happening in this particular tournament. It's already been determined.
You wanted to be mayor of London, didn't you?
Do you know what? I would put anybody as mayor of London above that clown that's currently there.
That's very true.
Right? But the fact of the matter is that his influence over this football tournament should be very minimal. Besides doing his job, like making sure security aspects, like our mayor didn't do.
Could you stand to be the mayor?
Yes. And don't worry, I have considered it.
Yeah.
I wish you would.
Well, he could stand, but we just couldn't.
Could you imagine him as my oppo?
I'd be a great mayor of London. How are you thinking about dynamic pricing this morning? Because it's anybody's guess under this system how much a ticket would cost you as an England fan if England get to the quarterfinals. If you get to the semi-finals, God only knows what it will cost you. If you get to the final itself, say you're up against Argentina in the final, can you imagine under dynamic pricing what you'll have to pay? It will be plenty. Having said that, with that in mind, are you prepared for it? Would you be up for that? Are you ready to pay whatever it takes to get you in to watch England in the deep, deep stages of this World Cup next summer? You might want to give us a call about that. I mean, how much is too much? 03717 223344. You can give me a call on that. Our great friend Chris Boyd is listening in Glasgow. You won't need semi-final tickets, England fans. You're gone at the quarters. Thanks, Chris. It's 11:15. Ange Postecoglou is in at Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest will be at Arsenal on Saturday, the lunchtime kickoff, and it's live on talkSPORT. Postecoglou confirmed as the new man in charge of Nottingham Forest post Nuno Espirito Santo. It's a 2-year deal. We're going to get Danny's take on that very shortly. In the meantime, we're talking about dynamic pricing at the World Cup next summer. What is it? Well, it's when the price point fluctuates according to demand. For example, on a briefing call last week to the media, FIFA confirmed that ticket prices will start about $60 for the cheapest group stage seats. But then they could range up to as much as 6,730 come the final. But it might be a lot more than that. A lot more than that, depending who gets to the final. And it's purely based on demand. And the demand will skyrocket, of course, this side of the pond if England get there. Anyway, just saying, be prepared. It's going to cost you. But if you want to see them deep in the tournament, it's a price you're going to have to pay. Tom is a Leeds United and England fan. Tom, good morning. Dynamic pricing, are you having it or not?
Hi, guys. I think it's the same as anything. I mean, like Oasis did it, didn't they? And they got in trouble. And, boxing, at the Dubois versus Usyk 2 fight, some of the tickets were $5,000. And I think that the dynamic pricing side of it is, it is what it is. They're trying to make money. I get it. And in every country, you've got rich people and you've got people that aren't quite so well off. And, I'm unfortunately not a millionaire yet. Maybe next year and all that. But,
you will be.
I think that I'll try. He who dares wins, Rodney. And I think that, to be honest, I think there'll be people that will pay, and the arenas will be sold out. It's just the way it is. But I think the biggest part that they're going to really annoy people with is having this website for reselling.
Yes.
Because all that will happen is you'll get people going in, buying 20 tickets for $60 a go, and they'll just bang them on websites and make a fortune. There's a lot of times when I've wanted to go to concerts and stuff, and you go on like that place Buy a Go-Go, which is a website for resale, and people are selling tickets to you and they live in Dubai, and you're off to a gig in Manchester. It's just absurd, but
yeah,
it'll be what it'll be. I hope England do well, and hopefully if they get to the final, I'll sell a kidney and try and jump on a plane.
Tom, thanks for the call. Tom touched on that there, that FIFA will operate their own resale platform, and that will have no cap on secondary sales. So they've got it every which way, haven't they? Kieran's a Manchester City and England fan. Kieran, where do you stand on dynamic pricing? First things first, no matter the price, will you go next summer?
Yeah, definitely. Got family over in the States, so it's something I love to do. But I'm exactly like the last caller. This idea of resale is ridiculous because, again, I don't know, and who says what FIFA do? So you can't really sure who they're going to allocate the tickets to. But all of those officials will have a selection of tickets to give out to numerous people. As soon as they've been given out, they're just going to go back on the resale site for however much they want to put. And how do we know where that money's going? It's the dynamic pricing I sort of get because, you go on, you see a price, but it's difficult because as soon as you see that price, maybe $400, you've got to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to buy now with no knowledge of whether it's going to go up or down. It's sort of forcing you to make a split decision rather than allocating a budget and saying, this is how much I've got to spend. But that is what it is. That's how they're doing it. But this resale of any price, I mean, what it should be is the resale should be the price it was actually sold at and no more. They shouldn't be able to just give whatever price they want.
Kieran, you've just nailed it. I think that's absolutely right, Simon, isn't it? You don't know what you're going to end up paying. That's the thing.
Well, what we're doing
on that resale.
Yeah, I understand the principle.
I think Kieran's spot on.
I mean, there must be a reason why they're doing it. Is whether they think that people are going to buy tickets, and if they don't resell them at the price they want to, you might see empty swaves inside stadiums, and FIFA don't want that.
Right.
But people like Marcus Evans made a living out of selling tickets and buying them from organisations and reselling them, and made billions and bought football clubs with them. So all we're doing is taking a commercial proposition, ticket scalping, and taking it down to a local level, and people are objectioning to it. But ticket agencies exist. And they existed since time immemorial. And whenever you go and buy a package from some of these ticket agencies, you're not buying them at the price that they bought them for. So what we're saying is we accept the principle of being able to buy it from someone else and pay a premium for it, but we don't accept the principle of somebody doing it that's an individual sitting in his bedroom being able to do it and make some money out of it.
I agree with that, but isn't it if they try and the fact that they're certain people have more availability to buy the tickets originally to then make the money on.
Yeah,
that's the unfair.
That's
thing.
the unfair.
Who's got the exclusive?
Access,
who's got the privileged access? That's where I think it's going to sounds a bit sus.
Do you, Simon, see the Premier League at some stage introducing dynamic pricing? And if they did, would they be right to do that?
Well, what's it got to do with the Premier League? What the clubs do? They're individual businesses.
Well, the clubs within the Premier League, I mean.
Yeah, but it's not the Premier League can't tell the clubs within the Premier League within reason. They gave them a guidelines that they wanted to, based upon the fans' objections, and the fans pushed back for the away ticketing prices to a certain level, right? But I very much doubt they're going to get too involved.
If you're a Premier League club owner, though, would you vote for it? Would you go with it? This is how we can make a lot of money.
I would go with what I thought was right for my football club and what was fair and representative of what I was trying to create for the fans.
When does this become unfair, dynamic pricing, in your view?
Well, I mean, it's always unfair to some extent because it profits off the opportunity. It's unfair that airlines charge people fortunes to go on holiday with their kids when you want to go on holiday and when they're off season.
4 or 5 times the price.
And that's dynamic pricing. It's the nature of the beast. And the rest of the year, people could turn around and say, well, I'm getting really cheap flights. That's the cost implications of having a cheap flight regime for the rest of the year. Football is football. It is capitalism. The players are paid enormous amounts of money. Football takes enormous amount of money. The advertisers pay enormous amount of money. And FIFA are on top of all this going, the land of milk and honey. We'll do the Club World Championship. We'll make fortunes there too.
I mean, FIFA are rubbing their hands this morning, a year out.
But again, when you say FIFA rubbing their hands, who are FIFA and what is their responsibility? FIFA are an NFP. They're a not-for-profit organisation that's supposed to redistribute all the money into the game.
Yeah.
So who's rubbing their hands and doing what? And I agree with you, the principle of it, because Infantino swans around the world, probably in private jets, cozying up to everybody and finding a nice little life outside of FIFA for himself. That's the benefits of the position that he's in.
Yeah.
But the organisation in and of itself, his job is to flourish football and to finance football in the far-flung corners of the world, which in essence produces players in every part of the world, which feeds the engine, which gives us better players to watch. So it should go round in a circle.
And when you say it's a not-for-profit organisation, the latest count, their cash reserves, 3.9 billion.
Sure. Yeah. And why do they need cash reserves at that level? And what are they doing?
Why do they?
Why do
they don't do that?
I have no idea. You'd have to ask him. But these are the sort of questions that Infantino avoids. This is why you have these organisations that try to keep FIFA honest and come in studios and produce big books that we've read and seen them come in and challenge the orthodoxy and the leadership and the reach and influence that FIFA has.
Yeah.
So yeah,
why are they in a bubble though? Why can't you get at them? Why can't you ask these questions? Why isn't there transparency?
Because they don't allow it, and people aren't pushing back against
Who
it.
can? Who can?
No one really.
Let's get on to Infantino as soon as we finish today at 1. There's a promise. When we come back, the other side of 11 o'clock, while we're preparing to call Infantino, the other side of 11 o'clock, we'll talk about what's going on at Nottingham Forest. Ange is in, and Marinakis says, we've got the right guy, and he'll explain why.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van centre.
With your headlines at 11:01, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Thomas Tuchel's told talkSPORT that 5-0 win in Serbia was pure teamwork.
Showed a lot of quality on the ball and in transition, and we were ruthless in the finishing, so it was a top performance in an important moment.
But Tuchel's not getting the bunting out, and neither is former England midfielder Danny Murphy. He's told White and Jordan all last night did is show what a super group of talented players Tuchel has.
The most positive thing is some of those lads who aren't particularly experienced and played loads of times for England did really well in a decent level of game. High pressure, high profile.
Was superb at 10, and here's what Daily Mail journalist Craig Hope had to say about Anderson's performance in midfield.
There's something of Paul Gascoigne about him, the gait, the arms, the physique. I think Anderson's wonderful, and for me, they should build the team around him, not Jude Bellingham.
Meanwhile, Madueke's prompted a conversation here about whether the injured Saka gets straight back in or not. Madueke's back for Arsenal this weekend. They're home to Nottingham Forest, live on talkSPORT this Saturday lunchtime, with Ange Postecoglou back in North London. Meanwhile, Man City will assess Omar Marmoush when he returns. Marmoush picked up a knee injury playing for Egypt in Burkina Faso. And Barcelona's unfinished stadium revamp means their first home game of the La Liga season will be played at their 6,000-seater training ground. As work continues, Barca haven't played at the Nou Camp since 2023. More on this story at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Poland's Prime Minister's warned his country's closer to armed conflict now than at any time since the Second World War. And the UK ambassador to the US says it's very embarrassing he once called paedophile Jeffrey Epstein his best pal. More from the news team at 5:30.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, proudly supporting air ambulance charities this Air Ambulance Week. Every mission starts with you. Visit Air Ambulances UK to learn more.
Rain and showers, heavy and thundery at times, moving northeast through the day. Some sunny spells turning cooler from the west, windy in the southwest with possible gales.
Good morning, everybody. 4 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's Wednesday, September the 10th. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and the three of us are live with you on talkSPORT. You can watch the show wherever you look these days. We are there on Samsung, LG, Apple TV, amongst others, even Prime Video. You can tune in and watch us from the 17th floor of the news building right here at London Bridge, and we're with you all the way through until 1 o'clock. A lot to get through. Frank Warren joined us in studio yesterday talking about a whole bunch of things, not least what is next for Moses Etoma. He's going to be run out again soon, and we'll see him in action, of course, in action this weekend. The super fight of all super fights, Canelo against Crawford. How is that going to go? We'll head out to Vegas fairly shortly, and we'll hear more on that one as that fight gets ever closer. Nothing in football surprises us. Ange Postecoglou returned to management in the Premier League with Nottingham Forest yesterday, only 12 hours after the sacking of Nuno Espirito Santo. So what lies in store? It all gets underway on Saturday when Ange and Forest pitch up at Arsenal. It's a 12:30 kickoff and it's live on talkSPORT. I wonder if we're going to get some of the classic moments Ange served up when he was at Tottenham last season.
Going to answer the question, or you're going to keep asking it? No, absolutely. And I think I'll correct myself. I don't usually win things. I always win things in my second year. Nothing's changed.
And you're confident you can do that with this side? You're seeing enough?
Well, I just sort of said it now, so I don't say things unless I believe them. But I'll tell you one thing, irrespective of tomorrow, I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate. And you're really disappointed that you would use such terminology about a person who, for 26 years, without any favours from anyone, has worked his way to be in a position where he's leading out a club in a European major competition, for you to suggest that somehow us not being successful means that I'm a clown, not really sure how to answer that question.
What's the thinking there?
It's just who we are, mate. It's just who we are.
Andrew's back, mate, and it all starts Saturday at Arsenal. Simon, you and I spoke about this yesterday. Danny, first chance we've had to put it to you. Nuno's sacking, that's one thing. Ange's appointment. What do you make of it all?
Well, I mean, a couple of weeks ago when we first heard Nuno's comments, I think Simon and I were in agreement that that's probably the end, or looking likely. I didn't think he'd come back from that, and he hasn't. I was a little bit surprised at Ange, just because of the complete contrast. I like him. I mean, he's warm, he's likeable, he's great at talking, he gives us something, I think. But from a footballing perspective, I would imagine we'll see a little bit of a difference. I don't think he's going to be as predictable as he was before. He showed at the end of his tenure at Tottenham that he has the ability to adapt and change, and it gave him some success. So I think, like anybody who's reasonably intelligent while working and doing any job, you learn each time you go to a new environment and a new club, and you listen, and you don't think you're right. You learn as you progress and improve. So I think it could be a good thing in some ways for Forest to play a bit differently, especially now that they've now got this strength in depth in attacking areas. They've spent a lot of money on some flair players. Marinakis owns the club. He wants to see them play a bit differently. Fair enough. Give it a go.
Do you think they'll be less gung-ho under Ange than they were at Tottenham?
I think we'll see an adaptation of what Tottenham were. I think there'll be certain games where they'll go hell for leather if they think they can dominate someone at home who's of lesser quality. But I think if he was to go in there and do exactly the same thing and be steadfast with that and not adaptable, he won't be there that long, because that would be crazy. Forest, on paper, have got a decent squad, but certainly not able to compete toe for toe with the big boys. In a footballing contest, they'll get done. But they've now got this quality in their squad that they haven't had for a long, long time. So it makes sense for them to play a bit more adventurous and a bit more creatively. So I hope he finds that balance. The key to good management when you don't have all the best players in the world is finding various ways to win football matches. Thomas Frank, probably the best example of that at Brentford I saw over a period of the last couple of years in terms of changing the way he played for different opposition. So I think he will have learned. I think we'll see Forest become more on the front foot, yes, but not to a cavalier point where they become Tottenham. I don't see that. It'd be absolutely crazy.
Simon, Marinakis has got high hopes. We're bringing a coach to the club who has a proven and consistent record of winning trophies.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was thinking about it in isolation yesterday after the show. First of all, I think the more I think about it, the more I think that Nuno Espirito Santo engineered his departure so that he got paid on the way out, because I think he'd reached the end of the road for various reasons. And maybe some of that's Edu, maybe some of that's the situation with Marinakis and the fact that Marinakis was courting other people. Second of all, what do Forest playing in this year? What does Marinakis think he can win this year? He thinks he can win the Europa League. He thinks he can win the Europa League. He can deliver a European title to Nottingham Forest and make good on his promises. So what's he gone? He's got, the fact they're a pair of bubbles and they can communicate with one another in hieroglyphics is probably an added. Might see a repeat of what happened last year. Forest dropped down the table, right down the table in the league, and go and win the Europa League like Spurs did. But you've seen the model, you've seen how he plays in Europe. If Marinakis is in a situation where he wants to deliver a trophy, which he does, there is no quicker way to do it now, because they can win this Europa League, Nottingham Forest. It's possible, yeah. And somebody going into that, we've seen him do it. He did it last year with Spurs.
They've got another squad size.
Why wouldn't Forest go and win?
Couldn't they have won it with Nuno?
Well, I don't think
possibly.
I think possibly he could, but the fact of the matter is, my point is that I don't think, when I first listened to it, I was calling and did it yesterday again, calling Nuno Espirito Santo a fool for making these observations. What do you expect the outcome to be? Now, he's not a fool, so if he's not a fool, then why did he do it? And he did it, I believe, to engineer an outcome, which is potentially, if you don't like it, Nuno, why don't you resign? If he resigns, then he's going to get himself a situation where he doesn't get paid. If he engineers a situation where he gets fired because there's a whole raft of things going on, because he doesn't want to work in this environment, he doesn't want to work here, he gets paid.
Yeah.
So I think there's an element of that going on. But Postecoglou has now been brought in the door for whatever reason, whether it's a style of football issue, and it may well be that art imitates life. And we've got a situation where what happened last year and what he curated at Spurs last year happens exactly again at Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest do not finish 7th in the league next year. They finish 17th or 15th or 16th or 14th, and they go and win European competition. But Marinakis will be cock at a walk because he's delivered a European trophy to Nottingham Forest, which was what he said he would do.
On a different note, working on this show is phenomenal in so many ways, mainly to be educated by Simon's wonderful knowledge.
His bubble yesterday, he says, we now must take the right step to compete with the very best and challenge for trophies. And you see, this is what we get back to. Because all the way back at Wembley in 2022, when Nottingham Forest got to the Premier League, I went into a suite where Marinakis was post-match. Forest had gone up to the top flight, and it was only and all about trophies.
It's a magic moment. We are back, and now we go for trophies. Nothing is impossible for me. If you see what I have done in my life, you see that nothing is impossible.
So what can Nottingham Forest do now that they are back? What do you think?
You have to be patient and see, but be ready for trophies.
Now, he was super emotional then, Simon, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
But it's still the same brief from him. Trophies.
But the thing about him, like him or loathe him, and Nottingham Forest will like him a lot because he's the fans, and that's what people have been saying in the studio. And one of our own presenters, Max, who's a Nottingham Forest fan, talks about the fact that, we love him and we'll trust his judgment, because you can't not trust his judgment. He delivered you the Holy Grail out of the wilderness of football, outside of the Premier League for 23 years, back in the Premier League now, and I'm going to give you trophies. And not only has he said he's going to do it, he's written cheques out to do it. And he's also gone to war with the establishment. I'm not having this, I'm not having that, I'm not having this, I'm not having that. I'm going to get, whether you agree that I'm going to have a referee in because we think we're being ganged up on, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do what I want, but I'm going to back it. And he's backed it again this summer. He spent another 250 million euros on players. Okay, he's had 100 million coming in.
So you admire him?
I admire somebody that says what they're going to go and then puts their money where their mouths are. You can't not. I don't admire some of the things that come out of his mouth. I'd be interesting to see what happens if he rocks on a pitch and waves his finger at Ange Postecoglou and see how that one plays out.
He's got gumption, hasn't he? He's got a bit about him. He likes what he says and says what he likes.
See, some clubs are just happy to cling on to life in the Premier League.
Yeah, the thing is, Jim...
You're always going on about
Palace. Jim,
that's ownership, Palace, they've become established in the Premier... Yeah, great. Marinakis, he wants that and then that.
Yeah, and that's... maybe he's got more money. He certainly hasn't got more money than David Blitzer and Josh Harris, so it's interesting that Palace don't make more money available. That's the observation of Texter. Parish ain't got any money to make available, so it's not Parish's call in the same way that it wasn't Daniel Levy's call. Daniel Levy didn't have any dough, with due respect to Daniel's wealth, to be able to make Tottenham fly faster and longer. That was Joe Lewis's responsibility, or a funder around them.
This ain't just about trophies. So style of play keeps coming up, and it's been partly.
This one is about trophies.
I think style of play it's where football's changed for quite a long time now, where fan bases, maybe Pep's brought it in, maybe it was Klopp, whoever, but fans now don't just want results. They want to be entertained. They want to see attacking football. I'm not saying...
But Marinakis sniffs a trophy here.
Fine. But if you think of... Leicester weren't in the relegation zone when Cooper was in charge, but the style wasn't good enough. When I was at Charlton, Curbs got a bit of stick for the style, but Charlton were always in the top half of the... You had Moisey at West Ham, won a trophy, but... it's negative, it's pragmatic.
But Forest were... I thought
Mourinho at United.
I thought Forest were a good watch last year. Didn't you?
Yeah, but they were a counter-attack side.
Yeah, they were a counter-attacking side. But
I enjoyed watching them, absolutely. I'm not criticising
I get bored of possession-based football, pass. Yes, it's beautiful on the eye, and sometimes it's great to watch.
I do, but I'm on about...
dynamic counter-attacking.
I'm with you. I love varying... Yeah. But what I'm talking about is the fan bases generally, it feels now.
Yeah.
They're not just happy for some results. I'm not saying Forest fans want it. Forest fans love him. I'm not saying Forest fans per se, but...
Yeah.
Mate,
there is this thing generally with fans now where it's like we want to be entertained.
These Forest fans will be like dogs with two proverbials if they go and win the Europa League.
Yes.
However they play.
Another great analogy.
Well, in 2022, you said it's all about trophies. It's all about trophies. I remember it well, trying to chase him around this suite at Wembley when he was talking to me, Marinakis. And then yesterday...
Do you normally chase men around stadiums?
Yes, indeed. Especially Greek men. We now must take the right step to compete with the very best and challenge for trophies. Forest fans, are you up for this? Marinakis says, yeah, we've got Anjan and Nuno's gone, but the reason is this. We're going to win a trophy. Under Ange, that is where we're going. Our hearts are set in it. So now you know the vision. Can Ange deliver on the remit? 03717 22 3344 810 89. I'm going to chase Danny and Simon just around the studio. So the clock is ticking. We've never heard that before. With under 2 weeks to go, enter now for your chance to win £25,000 and tickets to Oasis' final Wembley gig. It's our biggest competition yet here at talkSPORT. Don't look back in anger. Here's how you can enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word OASIS to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Been a chaotic international break, not least with the comings and goings at Nottingham Forest. And now Evangelos Marinakis, the owner of the club, has said, "We now must take the right step to compete with the very best and challenge for trophies." That, of course, in the knowledge that Ange Postecoglou is the man in charge and Nuno Espirito Santo has exited stage left. But can Ange deliver on that remit? 03717 223344. Simon, myself and Danny are ready to take your calls, so many of them. Let's go for Neil, who's a big Nottingham Forest fan. Neil, good morning. What do you want to say?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, just want to say I have 100% faith in Marinakis, and Big Ange, he will deliver us a trophy. We were far too rigid under Nuno. We just stuck to the same game plan every single game, and we had to go and attack teams. And now I believe we'll do that under Marinakis.
What might that trophy be, Neil? Do you have a hunch that having got themselves into the Europa League, and of course that was at Palace's expense, they might just write a story of their own and win this thing?
Well, we can do. Listen, if Tottenham can win the Europa League, then we certainly can. We certainly can. FA Cup, Europa League, anything. And I also believe we have to go for the top six, and I believe Ange can do it.
Wow. Okay. Do you, Simon? Top six and win a trophy in his first season at Nottingham Forest?
I think there's a possibility he can win. I don't think he can get in the top six, but I think there's a possibility he can win a trophy. I think the Europa League is wide open for them to win.
We might have to wait for the second year before he does that.
But the opportunity, no, great. But the opportunity is now. The opportunity is now. They've gotten into the Europa League by default. They've stood on the shoulders of giants to get in there, and the opportunity is now. Yeah. And there's no reason why Forest, as the caller rightly says, the two teams that got to the final last year were poop. It was a poor final, and it was. And if Tottenham and Man United can do that, then there's no reason why a relatively well functioning Nottingham Forest can't do the same thing. And I do genuinely believe. I take Danny's point about the style of play might be an issue too, but I do genuinely believe that Marinakis go opportunity. Now, take it.
The two teams were what?
Not very good.
Poop,
yeah.
Villa will think they can win it.
Yeah.
I'd choose Villa over Forest.
They're not in good nick for it at the moment, are you?
But squad-wise, and, your boys are in it. I mean, God, they're going to be... Rangers and Celtic, they're going to be competitive.
Yeah. I'll be terrified about that.
Steady yourself. Here's one for both of you before we leave this topic. Where does Nuno land next?
I think he'll have... multiple options. He's a very competent man who seems to conduct himself the right way up until very recently. But he's a certain style of manager, and there'll always be clubs who need someone to be able to organise and discipline and create a team that's very difficult to play against. And I don't see him struggling for work at all.
Do you know, does he not impress you in some ways, Simon? You wouldn't have done it when you saw Marinakis on the pitch. Having an exchange with Nuno Espirito Santo. You said to me then, no, I wouldn't have done that.
I thought he dealt with that
Marinakis did. Now, many Forest fans thought, that's exactly what I was going to say, Danny. Many thought, good old Nuno standing up to that.
But
did that not impress you?
Well, he didn't stand up to it, did he, really? He didn't say it was much of an issue, and he said it wasn't an issue for him, which I don't believe. What he did was he played the right way. He played with a straight bat in terms of not giving us, the media, an opportunity to create some division.
That reflects well on him for you if you were employing him next.
But I also think it's an interesting dynamic. The style of club has got to be right for Nuno, because when he went to Spurs, the fit was completely wrong. That's why he got binned, early doors. He's interesting, isn't he? Because he's successful in what he does. I think he's a difficult animal. I think he's a political animal. I don't mean in terms of his leanings, but in terms of the way he plays Machiavellian games to get his outcomes. And I think that doesn't sit very well. I think they run out of patience with him at Wolves. But he produced a decent side that got them out of the Championship. Did okay in the first couple of seasons in the Premier League. Did really well. Produced a decent side because they had the flying centre forward, flying winger Troy Owen, didn't they? He was ripping pieces to people.
They had Neves. They had a hell of a good team.
And they had Neves and a few other people. The Portuguese connection because of George Mendes. But I think he's a slightly difficult animal. Now, people will look at it and go, as a football operator, I don't think there's any doubt that Nuno Espirito Santo operates at a relatively high level with a certain type of football club that was prepared to play in a certain type of way. But there is also the other side of him that I think will challenge people. So where could he go next? Is he worthy of another Premier League job? Yeah, of course he's worthy of another Premier League job. It just depends on the club. Is he a top 6 manager for one of the big 6 clubs? I don't think so. Not because I dislike him in any shape or form. I just don't think he has that way about him to be a top 6 manager, albeit looking at the top 6 managers and what they're supposed to be, like Ruben Amorim, that's supposed to be managing a top 6 club. Who knows what that model is these days? But I don't see him managing a top 6. He had a tilt at Spurs. It just didn't work. And it's not just Daniel Levy and Spurs. He got binned really quick. Really quick.
You know, the style of ownership that he adopts, Marinakis, and of course in this age of PSR, Simon, and everything that goes with it, and the way Marinakis goes about it, heard that, but we're going to do it our way, because no matter what, I am hell-bent on winning a trophy with this football club. It's a dream for fans to have an owner like that, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
That's the ultimate owner for any supporter.
Close though, weren't they? Close to getting it wrong. Because they nearly got relegated in the first season. They were close to being on the wrong end of an outcome. They got sanctioned for not selling players when they knew they needed to, because he wanted to take the revenue on Brennan Johnson rather than suppress the idea of some PSR. So he sailed close to the wind. But yeah, he is. He makes no apologies. These people don't come through the back door. He comes through the front door in every aspect of him. And so you know where you stand with this fella in terms of this is what he expects, this is what he demands. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Morgan Gibbs-White got the full court press put on him, the thumb screws put on him by Marinakis to be able to concentrate his mind on what he wasn't.
You like the idea of that, don't you?
To some
extent. You do.
Yeah, to some extent.
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, Unai Emery in his programme note said PSR stops fans from dreaming.
But it does.
Well, not if you're Marinakis.
Well, it does, but no, it does.
Well, he's still limited in what he can
He's
do.
still limited.
He's just maximised everything he can do.
Yeah, he took a punishment for it first time round. They're now balancing their books. I do think it's preposterous. It's outrageous what Nottingham Forest had to experience, going up from the Championship and having less ability to flex than the clubs that are already there. You're taking the loss in the Championship. You're already disadvantaged by the fact you haven't got a Premier League squad. And what we'll do is we'll double down and disadvantage you. I mean, who wrote these rules?
Yes.
It's nonsense.
Yes.
And so he pushed back against it.
Is that still in place?
Yes, of course it is, and it's wrong and it needs to change. PSR inside the Premier League needs to be thrown in the bin. It doesn't work. What are they fixing? What have they fixed by it?
So you go with Marinakis
challenging the league
when he says we've got to be able to compete with the very best, and we're gonna.
I go with him. Of course, I go with him because he's got the ability to do it and the finances to want to do it. Do I go with the principles of what Marinakis might represent in the longer game? Possibly not. But right now, for Nottingham Forest fans, who cares? Football fans would take Osama bin Laden, if he was alive, into running their football club as long as it got them the best players.
Go to that press conference. Marinakis has appointed, or Forest have appointed, Ange Postecoglou. He's the man in charge from this point onwards. It's a 2-year deal, and it all gets underway this Saturday because the Premier League is back. It's the middle of the day kickoff on Saturday. It's Arsenal against Nottingham Forest with Ange in the away technical area. And it's live on talkSPORT. So are we at 11:30.
Let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. Something like this?
That is an absolutely shocking decision.
They've got a case in that it was a bad decision. It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top level of football refereeing? You can apply to become a referee through your local county FA from as soon as your 14th birthday. After spending several hours either in the classroom or on the pitch, they'll grant you Level 7 status, which allows you to officiate amateur games. Then you'll work your way through the ranks of amateur football, not reaching the National League until Level 2. It's a long process, bearing in mind every level from 7 upwards takes an average of a year. Also, there's no specific number of games you have to ref or hours you have to log before moving on up. You simply just have to be good enough. Once you're Level 2 and have enough experience at a National League level, you can apply to the EFL to become a Level 1 referee. Then it's on you to get enough experience to climb through the ranks and eventually become a Premier League referee. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough to officiate games in the top flight. So if you want to make it to the top, there's less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of doing it, and it'll take you a decade to get there.
Now then, the latest episode of the brand new refurbished talkSPORT daily podcast is available now as Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and former England captain Stuart Pearce discuss England's dominant win over Serbia, 5-0 on the night. Tune in on the talkSPORT app or wherever you podcast from to find out what Stuart has had to say. In the meantime, it's time for this.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
Yes, indeed. We are joined by Charlie Robertson from BetMGM to look at some of the top sporting events and the odds round and about them. Charlie, good morning to you. No better place to start than Belgrade and the events of last night and the 5 goals that went with it. Serbia 0, England 5. What's your take?
Morning, Jim. Morning, guys. Yeah, as mentioned, Jim, it was. We thought it could be a bit of a tricky test for England in Belgrade, but they came through with flying colours, didn't they? It's actually the win means Thomas Tuchel, first England manager to win his first 5 competitive matches without conceding a goal, which I thought was quite a nice stat. So, yeah, I think it's so far so good. Obviously, a really good performance last night. Danny, I think as the news bulletin just mentioned, it obviously the best performance under Tuchel so far, but there are a few selection headaches, I think is fair to say, particularly in that midfield. How do you see Tuchel going with it? I'd love to see Adam Wharton in there, probably alongside Declan Rice with Bellingham maybe. But how do you see Tuchel going with that midfield moving forward?
Well, I think it will depend a lot on who's playing well at the time and who's fit. If they're all fit and playing well, you would say Rice and Bellingham are the 2 definite stars, and then there's another place up for grabs. At the moment, Anderson's been brilliant. He's grasped his opportunity tremendously well. So, if you were betting, you'd probably put him as a front runner right now because it's kind of, I've got the shirt, who's going to come and take it? Do we see Mainu getting back in the United team? Because he was obviously the player who played there in the Euros. Wharton is a terrific player, and I'm sure he'll get his chance at some point. But at the minute, he's the front runner. Everywhere else is, there's loads of places for grabs. I think that left side's for grabs. Left back. Probably one on the centre half position still up for grabs. So there's lots of areas where the competition's high.
Is it an area they've struggled to get the balance right in midfield, Danny?
I don't think under Tuchel the balance has looked wrong. I quite like what he's doing. He's played the same way nearly every game. It's just who's going to play next to Ryan, who's going to be the one that plays that role Anderson played last night. When you're playing well and you've got the shirt, you've got to be the favourite for it. But we know a lot can change. The core of the England team's pretty set, I think.
Yeah. Do we have odds this morning, Charlie? I'm kind of putting you on the spot. The latest odds for England to win the thing next summer.
7-1, Jim. I actually checked that just before we came on. So I think we're fourth favourites behind Spain, Brazil and France. So there was actually a little move this morning after last night. I think it was 15-2 into 7-1. So
England fourth favourites to win it.
I know. I think that might be a bit of patriotic money. But yeah, no, we're definitely one of the contenders according to the market anyway.
When you're looking at me,
well, why wouldn't we be? On the basis of the last 3-4 major tournaments, England have been finals, semi-finals, quarterfinals, finals. So why wouldn't we be one
why
of the
wouldn't
favourites?
you be? You haven't won it since '66.
Yeah, but we're talking about
You've only won it once.
We're talking about the betting fraternity.
All right.
We're not even going to ask about the odds on your motley crew, are we?
Let's get on to golf, because this, unlike Simon, is where Danny really shines. BMW PGA Championship this weekend. What are you thinking on that one, Charlie?
Yeah, massive week on the DP World Tour, Jim. BMW PGA Championship at Wentworth. 11 of the 12 European Ryder Cup players are in action. Rory McIlroy off that amazing win in Ireland last week. I'm sure Danny was watching, alongside John Rahm are the 6-1 favourites. Tommy Fleetwood, obviously in really good form after that win in America a couple of weeks ago, is 9-1. And Ludwig Aberg and the one I quite like, Matt Fitzpatrick, are 18-1 shots. But there are loads of players you can make cases for. I saw Brooks Koepka, who's obviously a 5-time major winner, is 100-1, which I thought was a mental price. Danny, I'm not going to ask you who you fancy. I mean, there's loads you can make a case for, but I just wanted to check. I'm not sure if you saw, but Brooks Koepka is playing with Robbie Fowler and John Terry in the Pro-Am today. And I was wondering whether or not you'd played in any of these sort of Pro-Ams before, and if so, who are any famous people you've teed it up with?
Do you know what I have played Wentworth, but not at the Pro-Am. I did get asked one year, and I didn't feel at the time my golf was up to the level, so I chickened out because I still went. I had a wonderful time. Did a Q&A with Justin Rose, which was great fun. So no, I haven't been asked recently. I'd love to do it. Robbie's a good player, actually. He's been a good player for a long time.
And Terry's good too, isn't he?
JT's superb.
He's left-handed. When he plays.
Yeah, he's really good. I think he's near scratch, actually.
Didn't my mate ask you to play the other day in a game? Ryan Housen owns Stayshaw, that owns the Seniors Tour. Didn't he ask you to play?
Not in a Pro-Am, no. That was it. No.
Sorry, we're having a discussion about the odds. We're not talking about your mate.
The
in touch with Danny the other day, or are we?
Owns the Seniors Tour, the Golf Seniors Tour. So it was a meaningful conversation to play alongside top players.
The Wentworth.
Pay attention.
Speak we're spoken to.
The course is
Dan.
The Wentworth course is great. I'm looking forward to watching that. But I think one of the Ryder Cup players will win it.
Right. Okay.
Just because they're so focused and dialed in.
I quite like Charlie's idea of Matt Fitzpatrick, Danny, coming up trumps in that one. Interestingly, in the world of golf, the United States, Charlie, has caused some commotion on social media. They've launched their official Ryder Cup T-shirt. It went on sale, but many have said, "Well, what's the point of that?" Because there's a player on it who's an absolute dead ringer for Rory McIlroy. It costs $65. It's a navy Ralph Lauren T-shirt. You'd like it. It's posh. And it carries the slogan, US Ryder Cup 2025. Have you seen it, Danny?
Yeah.
Rory's apparently said to be on it. Rory himself said, no, it doesn't look like me, but it looks like Adam Scott, the Australian.
Well, they are then.
So they made an absolute botch of it.
I think it does look like Rory. I think it looks like Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a schoolboy, isn't it?
It's a schoolboy.
The fact that it's even being talked about means someone hasn't done the job properly.
Yeah, there it is. It's on screen. If you're watching on TV at the moment with us, there it is in silhouette, and it's a dead ringer for Rory.
Like confusing Jim with Paul O'Grady, isn't
it? Charlie, let's go back to you, because England, South Africa, the first 2020 at Sophia Gardens.
England, the strong favourites at 4-7, with South Africa 11-8. Just quickly, a couple of that one, Jim. Joss Butler at 5-2 looks very solid for England in the top batter market, and I'll try and get this name right. Devolt Brevis, I think his name is, for South Africa. I've been given a tip that he's worth a few quid, about 5-1. He smashed 125 off just 56 balls a couple of months ago against Australia, and he's actually played for Hampshire this year in England as well, so knows the conditions well. So 5-1 about him to be top South African batter could be worth a few quid in that market as well, Jim.
DeVault Brevis.
DeVault Brevis, yeah.
Great name, certainly. Great names, the South Africans. Charlie, thank you very much indeed. This mythical friend of yours, has he been?
I was invited to go to the BMW on the weekend, isn't it? 13th, isn't it? Wentworth.
This weekend.
The golf, yes.
Indeed. I was invited to go. Turned it down.
Right. So
busy.
Do either of us look interested in that?
I'm just telling you, we're talking about golf. I'm trying to get into the golf conversation.
Surprised you haven't got property on Wentworth.
That's more like it. Danny, can I just say, I have heard there's a bit of disquiet in the Jordan camp about how whoever's doing the BetMGM spot when it gets to golf will engage with Danny because Danny knows his golf. And his lordship here feels somewhat put out by that.
Well, but he's not an
because
expert in any sports, is he?
No.
So why would you? Maybe paddle. He could talk about paddle.
Yeah. Well, apparently you were a single-figure handicapper at one stage.
No, I never said that. Said I paid off 13.
13.
Always said the same thing.
Although maybe the guys could come up with some skateboarding stuff.
That's right, because that's what he's into.
Ridicule all you want.
That was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Still on the theme of golf, talkSPORT are entering the YouTube golf world.
Welcome, this is talkSPORT Golf Channel. Get in, Ollie Fisher, you beauty.
How far do you reckon that's gone?
I don't know, 350 maybe, 360?
Oh dear, you've been timing them a bit, haven't you? Hey?
I need to hit balls!
It would help if you clean your clubs before you use them.
Balls.
Oh, that's your best today.
Ollie Fisher, you absolute edge.
Thank you very much.
So head over to the new talkSPORT Golf channel on YouTube now to watch the first video of host Jamie O'Hara playing alongside former European Tour winner Ollie Mr. 59 Fisher as the boys attempt to break the course record at the famous Centurion Club. That's talkSPORT Golf on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. You're a certainty to be on that, Mr. Murphy, you're not?
Or at some point.
Are they already negotiating?
No.
No? Okay, well, we'll watch with interest. Danny, I wonder if you've ever been asked to get in the boxing ring and take on a former player like yourself, because this is exactly what is happening here. Pitch to punch. And it's all in the aid of charity. Pro Project Promotions, led by former Arsenal goalkeeper Graham Stack, is hosting a charity boxing gala at the, no less, the iconic Grosvenor Hotel in Mayfair right here in London. It's next month on the 18th to be precise, and it's going to deliver 5 matchups in the ring with the aim of raising £500,000 for a host of different charities. And the 5 matches, the matchups, comprise of 10 former players. David Bentley will fight Jody Morris. Curtis Davis will fight Paddy Kenny. Leroy Lita will fight David Noble. Lee Trundle, he's a big unit, will fight Anthony Gardner. And Greg Halford will fight Marvin Elliott, all in the name of charity. And the man in charge, the former Arsenal keeper, Graham Stack, who's had a punch-up or two in his time, joins us live in the show. Graham, good morning.
Good morning, lads.
Morning.
Good to have you on board. Did you approach Danny, and did he turn you down?
No, he didn't.
Could you not find anyone who was willing to have a scrap with Danny?
I thought Danny was a bit too high profile, Jim, to be honest.
Good too sensible.
Graham, what's the point behind this? Because obviously charities will benefit.
Do you know what, Jim? It's been probably 6-7 months in the process of trying to get this all organised. Now, the idea for me is trying to collaborate with ex-footballers, not just ex-footballers, but ex-boxers as well, that probably been out of the game for a while and now probably coaching, and try and put something on that was going to be special, but not just to raise, a couple of thousand, try and hit a target, which will be, something a little bit special. So we're collaborating together. We've got 10 ex-players, as you've mentioned. The matchups have been done. I'm currently in Swansea. I'm going to watch Lee Trundle train with Enzo Macronelli today. So all the boxers have been paired up with some of them ex-world champions, some of them British champions. Kevin Mitchell's involved, Darren Barker, Nina Hughes, Leon McKenzie, ex-footballer, cum boxer. So we've had loads of support from the boxing world. We are also on the night, we've obviously got Crouchy doing a Q&A with Ray Parler and Paul Merson. We've got Alfie Bowe performing, and we've got Martin Bayfield doing the auction. So we're trying to collaborate with different sports, but mainly obviously football and obviously the boxing world to try and raise a huge target, £500,000, which is from October to October, Jim. So the plan for us is to do our event in October at the Grosvenor. We are then planning on going to Manchester or Liverpool to do it there, and we will have 10 Northern-based fighters. And then we will take the best 5 Northern-based fighters against the best 5 Southern-based fighters, and then we will put them all together next year at the Grosvenor. So, Danny, you could be in line for that one up north.
We might see you in there yet. Simon, I mean, I like the way Graham and the others have organised this, because, as he says, the footballers involved have been trained by the likes of Darren Barker, Enzo Macronelli, Dave Caldwell, who we know well, James De Gale. Yeah. So these guys are being properly put through their paces, and on the night, the fights might well end up much more entertaining than we thought they might be.
Absolutely. And also, given the nature of what Graham's trying to achieve with it, and I'm surprised he hasn't got Wisey in there, because he can pick a fight in an empty room, can't he? But interesting, yeah. Well done, Graham. Good innovation.
Yeah. It's a great idea, Graham. Really. Who thought up the matchups?
So yeah, obviously we've got to be really we've got to be careful with who gets in the ring with who, obviously for health and safety reasons, and we want them to be fairly matched because I think that's going to be more entertaining. I know a few of the boys have boxed previously, and obviously they've been on an 8-week camp, so the boys they will all be in decent shape.
How have you matched Bentley with Jody Morris? I mean, you see Bentley's dancing the other day at Ascot.
Yeah. Strictly on weight and height, I think, Simon. Nothing else, nothing social.
Jody's fit though. He's competitive, really fit. I fancy Jody there. I'm not sure on Bent's being a fighter, to be honest.
How many rounds are the boys fighting?
So they're 3 2-minute rounds, Jim. 3 2-minute rounds. They're going to have 16-ounce gloves. They will have head guards as well. We're going to have a medical team and blue light, obviously, which we're hoping we don't have to use. But in terms of covering the event and making sure everyone is safe, that's obviously a priority for us. But just going back, Jim, just briefly. So the idea was not only just to connect ex-athletes and sportsmen, men and women, but the idea was obviously to give ex-players a platform and give them some structure and give them something to train for, which we all know that would help, obviously, mentally and physically. And obviously, they've lost out on so much camaraderie and that winning mentality and that competition. And when that's taken away from you, I'm sure that Danny could probably resonate with this. It is tough, and there are moments and times and spaces where when you do finish, it's very, very hard to find that feeling. And I just think this is an opportunity for lads to get back in there and have something to train for and work for, and even look, win or lose on the night. Look, we want naturally footballers will get in the ring. Any sportsmen and women that have played at elite level will anything they do, they want to win. That's first and foremost. However, it's the outcome at the end of it. It's raising £500,000. It's knowing that these lads have committed, and they have committed 100%. I couldn't have asked any more from the boys. They've took it so seriously. We've got a glove sponsor involved. They're getting top of the range boots, robes, personalised robes. We're going to have belts done on the night. There's going to be a fight of the night and stuff like that. So I spoke to Paddy Kenny today. He's lost 1.5 stone, and it was lovely because he said to me, "Look, had I not had this coming up, I probably wouldn't have made any changes." So it's what it's doing, not just on the night raising money for charity, it's what it's doing for ex-athletes and teammates and colleagues and friends of mine, that it's the overall outcome. And obviously people that will be coming on the night will be obviously entertained. I've also got to say a massive thank you for Glencar, who are our official partner and have completely backed what we're doing. They are big believers in helping out the community, big believers in raising money, and have fully got behind us on what we're doing. But look, Jim, ultimately we need money. We're trying to raise a fortune. We need help. We need some sponsors. We need people to potentially sponsor fighters where they walk in the ring with obviously company logos and stuff like that. We've got an amazing auction. Some of the auction prizes we've got are incredible. I know I've reached out to a lot of football clubs to get training ground and match day experience.
Yeah.
Where you may bring your son with you and we can auction that off to go and watch Arsenal train, for example. Or, so I am asking for some help as well, because look, up until this point, I've been very, very lucky that Willow, the charity. So I've got to mention the charities while you've got me on. So Willow, Bob Wilson set Willow up. Bob Wilson was the one that basically approached me about playing for Arsenal and signing for Arsenal when I was a 10-year-old kid. So Bob gave me every opportunity I've had to be a professional footballer and live my dream. And now it's my opportunity to give something back to Bob and try and raise a lot of money for Willow. On top of that, we've got Helping Hands, who are based at Barnet Hospital. We've got Play Skill, who work with young children with disabilities, who are based in St Albans and Hemel, and also Sport in Mind, who are a mental health charity. They're based in Reading. So I really wanted to try and connect with charities. And I thought about this. This was a long process. I didn't just jump on any charity. There had to be a meaning behind it, and I think I found 4 wonderful charities.
Now, Graham, I can hear it in you, mate. In your voice, your energy for it, your sincerity about it, and people can get in touch with you, Graham, at Pro Project Promotions, right?
Yeah. Pro Project Promotions, Jim, .com, and then obviously we've got a social media handle as well, which is Pro Project Promotions. Look, I've got to say thank you as well for so many people that have got in touch and want to get involved and have helped to support us and give us stuff. There's a nutritional company called 10X who are giving all the athletes all their nutritional products and supplements for pre-fight and post-fight. So look, it's been incredible. I would love. Look, I think I'm in at talkSPORT on Friday. I'm hoping that we can collaborate together and get this streamed on the night, which will go out to millions. And I'm also aware that David Bentley and Jodie Morris will be coming in the studio as a bit of a face-off, bit of a head-to-head, and a bit to make sure there's extra security there on the day.
Brilliant. So what have you heard at this early stage then, Graham? The actual fight night, October the 18th at the Grosvenor Hotel in Mayfair, just up the road from here. Bentley takes on Morris, Curtis Davis, Paddy Kenny, Lita against Noble, Lee Trundle against Gardner, and Greg Halford versus Marvin Elliott. Who at this early stage is shaping up to be the most competent candidate to take on the winner of Crawford-Canelo?
Do you know what? I think there's a few, funny enough, Jim. I was with the boys the other day. We'd done a walk around the venue, and a few of the lads were trying on robes, etc. But some of the boys still look extremely fit. They still look fit. They still look strong. I think there's going to be a combination of raw gameness, getting in the ring and wanting to have a proper trade up, and then there's probably going to be one or two that might dance around the ring. I said to Curtis Davis the other day about fighting Paddy. He said, "I'm just going to dance around the ring for the first couple of minutes, let Paddy blow up, and then take his head off."
Graham, all sorts of ideas might come out of this. You might have a night for former owners, like Simon Jordan versus Theo Pafitas, something like that. You never know, mate.
You know what, Jim? We could go into the boxing arena, the rugby arena. We could do ex-rugby players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But look, I am not a boxing promoter, Jim. People said to me, I'm not a boxing promoter. I'm a fundraiser. I'm trying to raise loads of money, but at the same time help loads of people. And it's helped me, to be honest. It's given me something that I can actually get my teeth into and get something set up that's going to benefit so many people.
Graham, brilliant effort by you.
Well, just a quick one, Jim.
Go on,
Just
mate.
a quick one, Jim. Obviously, Simon loves his boxing. I'd love to see Simon there if he would like to come and put his hand in his pocket and buy a table. That would be amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
may just get me there, Graham. You may just get me there.
Well done. Graham, you've sold it magnificently. Is there anyone you would ever envisage getting in a ring with, Danny? Have you ever thought?
No, in my football years, the one guy who I wouldn't want to get in a ring with out of all of them would probably be Leon Best. Former striker for Newcastle and Coventry, and I was with him at Blackburn.
Yeah.
No, and you wouldn't take him on. Not in a million years.
I'll bet. What a brilliant effort by Graham.
Look how enthused
well
Graham is,
did he speak?
Absolutely. Got everything. He didn't miss, did he? But look at the enthusiasm, the motivation and the determination. Well done, him. Absolutely
Yes,
right.
magnificent. The night itself is organised by Graham's organisation, Pro Project Promotions. October the 18th at the iconic Grosvenor Hotel in Mayfair in London. All the monies raised go towards a host of different charities, and they're aiming to raise £500,000. Can you imagine it on the night that former footballers go in the ring and fight each other?
Do you know the one I'd like to see the most, actually?
Go on.
After all these years, is Keane and Shearer.
Oh, yeah.
They hate each other, don't they?
I wouldn't mind Van Nistelrooy Keown as well. That would be decent in itself. And maybe we could line up Theo Pafitas with you, even though you're best pals.
He's 8 years older than me.
What does that matter?
He's 8 years older than me.
Yeah, it'd be a bit more.
How about you?
Around the ring.
You and Big Al?
Yeah.
Who could I fight? In the next break, I'll think.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With the headlines at 12:03, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. We're told England's spine of Pickford, Gay, Rice, Bellingham and Kane should all start if fit, but with World Cup qualification almost secure, talkSPORT's Danny Murphy says there are probably 4 places in the 11 up for grabs.
Elliot Anderson's done a brilliant job at trying to grasp that the last 2 games, but he's got a full season ahead of him to keep playing well. But he's got a chance. Left back's up for grabs. Next to Gay's up for grabs. I think John Stones will still have something to say about that if he can get himself fit.
Meanwhile, John Terry's told talkSPORT Tuchel will need a bunch of versatile defenders next summer.
Stones has been injured a little bit, so Ezra's come in and done well. There's other players that can come in, and Levi's out and kind of injured himself at the minute as well. So, I mean, listen, you've got to be adaptable in the national level as well. I see that I think in one tournament I played with 4 different partners.
Thomas Tuchel's now challenging his England players to build on that 5-0 win in Serbia, which he's described as purist teamwork. England fans also impressed. Their behaviour's been praised by Serbian police, despite a number of incidents involving Serbia supporters, including a laser pen shone in Ezri Konsa's face. Now, Man City's Omar Marmoush has picked up a knee injury while playing for Egypt in Burkina Faso. City will now assess Marmoush before this weekend's Manchester derby. And we understand Man United have received an offer from Turkish side Eyüpspor for Tirel Malacia. He'll make a decision ahead of the Turkish transfer window closing on Friday. More on this at talksport.com. Meanwhile, the Premier League weekend kicks off on talkSPORT with Arsenal versus Big Ange's Nottingham Forest this Saturday lunchtime.
talkSPORT News.
Poland has called for an urgent NATO meeting to discuss the Russian drones that crossed over into its airspace, and Britain's ambassador to the US says he regrets his relationship with paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, proudly supporting air ambulance charities this Air Ambulance Week. Every mission starts with you. Visit Air Ambulances UK to learn more.
Rain and showers, some heavy and thundery, moving northeast through the day. Some sunny spells, turning cooler from the west, windy in the southwest with possible gales.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 minutes past midday. This Wednesday lunchtime. Wednesday means Danny is with us all the way through until 1 o'clock. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are live on talkSPORT. I have to say, many of you getting in touch with us after that terrific exchange we had there with former Arsenal goalkeeper Graham Stack, and that Boxing Night coming up next month at the Grosvenor here in London, when some ex-players go in into the ring and have some celeb fights, all in the aid of charity. We eagerly look forward to that. And you might be asked to throw your weight behind that, Simon. Maybe take a table.
Sure I will.
I'm sure, yeah. It's a sort of
if you take a table, you need a group of friends.
No, that's the trouble part. But I'll take a table and give it back to them. They can do it again, can't they? They can raffle it again. It's called generosity, Danny.
This man was with us not that long ago, and I'm delighted to say he joins us again this lunchtime. About a year back, is it? Producer Lucas telling me, God, it seems like that. Former Tottenham, Leicester and Luton manager David Pleat joined us then and joins us now. Why? Because let's get ahead of the paperback release of David's autobiography, Just One More Goal. It is released later this month. David, we had a great old chinwag with you that day, and we're delighted to have you back in. You know Messrs Jordan and Murphy. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I believe I've met them before.
Briefly on the book as well, and we touched on it, more than touched on it last time around, but for anyone who hasn't read it yet, this is a story that David experienced going from England schoolboy international in 1960 all the way to his time as a scout for Tottenham up to 2024. 3 spells at Luton, after spells at Leicester and Sheffield Wednesday. He twice returned to Tottenham as director of football under Alan Sugar. And of course, you've been working in a scouting role as well for the mighty Glasgow Celtic. I mean, you've done the lot, it's fair to say, David.
Well, it's good to get a broad base, isn't it? And to know a lot of people, and communication is a very important thing in the game. And it's different, very interesting to see different standards and how different people work at different clubs. And the big discrepancy between the biggest clubs and the smallest clubs, let me tell you.
I can imagine. Just in the passing, and this is important, half of the book's proceeds go to motor neuron disease, the MND charities, in memory of your wife who died from the disease back in 2020.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good cause, of course, and it's a terrible disease for people to contact. And like a lot of charities, you hope that people give what they can. It's not easy.
Good. Well, delighted that that particular charity is involved. On a humorous note, Simon, it's just struck me the last time David was in here, we were outside and I managed to prize off him a hardback copy of the book. And
Did you?
I was making off to the foyer. And David, thanks for that. You come back. 20 quid.
Pay for it. Well done, David. Absolutely. That'd be a first.
It's not like Jim trying to get a freebie.
That £20 note had been in my purse for a considerable number of months. David, where do we start with you regards what's been happening of late? And one of the many lovely things I love about you, you ask a question, you get an answer. You mean what you say and you say what you mean. So let's get into it. We've seen sackings at Forest and at Tottenham, both in the dugout and seemingly in the boardroom. Nuno has gone, and in comes Ange at Forest. But Daniel Levy has gone from Tottenham. Were you surprised with the suddenness of that announcement?
Yes, I think most people were surprised. You know, everyone knows, and Simon's been a big supporter, I think, over the years. He's kept how difficult it is to be a chairman and to be a custodian of a club for such a long period, amongst all the disappointments of supporters when they're not winning what they want, which is silverware all the time, and to keep a steady ship, to keep a well-balanced club, and to be handing it over whatever the circumstances, and we don't know what the circumstances are. We don't know what happens between four walls. And this club's in a good shape now, financially, and with facilities, of course, which everyone speaks about, and a decent squad, enough to challenge, I think, at the top. So he's been a decent custodian. That's my view, a long-term view.
I mean, Simon, we've been over this time and time again. The most profitable club in England, but just the 2 trophies to show for it in 24 years. I was asked the other day out in the street by a Tottenham fan, do you think they got the balance wrong? Does Simon think they got the balance wrong? 2 trophies in 24 years, but the most profitable club.
Yeah, and a club that's built the infrastructure in a place and space that no one else has done. You know, the stadium is better than anything else in this country. The training ground probably not far dissimilar. The commercial revenues, maybe not the naming rights, and that may well be part of some of the angst that's gone on between whoever. But in this world that we live in now, silverware has always been part of it for the fans, but it's also now becoming part of the capital value of a football club. Football clubs are becoming increasingly worth more money on the back of their achievements and not just back on the commercial. Spurs are in an ideal position. Someone that wants to come and buy Spurs, and believe me, Spurs will be sold at some point, will be buying into a club that's got some serious platform to leap off. I mean, I described it, and, you know, maybe it's not the greatest analogy, but I described it as a spaceship that might just need a new captain, because it is a spaceship. This is a football club that if it had a different financial background, and the Lewises were behind that financial framework, Daniel doesn't have the kind of wealth that could have catapulted Tottenham. It was Lewis money that did or didn't, or other investors. So the ridiculous observations about wanting a different brand of success based upon Daniel's departure is positioning the previous underachievements solely at Daniel's door. Nice optics for them, not quite right.
With the wage structure that they offer, though, David, are they an elite draw for prospective players?
Well, I don't know if they want to be a little bit more ambitious on the financial side. They've always had the importance of income and expenditure and know the way the club should be run to be, you know, so many clubs have now got very, very big debts. And of course, the banks don't want to call them in because they're too big and they're earning interest from the debts. Smaller clubs, sadly, from my experience, they get called in very quickly if they run into trouble. So there's a massive difference there. I do believe there's a set of players there that are good enough now, or should be good enough, a squad of players, to achieve some success. But, you know, they've had so many managers in the last, I think, 14 managers. Glenn was the first, an Englishman. The only other Englishman was Harry Redknapp, who did relatively well. He had it for 4 years. And all the other men, big names, Conte and Mourinho, for example, couldn't achieve. But they had the opportunity. They had the opportunity to manage a big club. And then they didn't succeed or whatever and decided for different reasons that the culture at the club wasn't right and made excuses and went on their way. But many clubs have got the same problems.
Of course.
But what Tottenham have got is they got a 61,000 stadium now, where previously, years ago, before Daniel took over, there was a maximum of about 32, 33,000, and that's a big difference.
I mean, you worked under Daniel Levy at Tottenham, David. How ambitious was he?
All I can say is he was calm. You can't micromanage. They have so many departments, Jim. There's IT, there's programmes, there's press, there's medical, there's groundsman. You can't keep an eye on everything that accurately. It's very difficult. It's too big an organisation. But what he did do was he employed people, decent people, to take the responsibility in those different areas. And after 2 or 3 years, if they didn't produce, if the figures weren't correct, or if the team wasn't doing well enough, maybe he made a change. That's how business works.
Danny, you played for this great club. We've been over it with you regards Levy going and the change that might incur. But it's a different time now for Tottenham going forward. Daniel Levy has gone. They have a new man in charge of the team, and the man is Thomas Frank. Is there any way you could, at this stage, and we're only just into the month, really, you could second guess what kind of season lies ahead for Tottenham fans out there?
Well, I think it'll be better generally, especially in terms of Premier League form. I think he's a very competent manager who's able to adapt his formations and styles. And I've met him a couple of times, spent a bit of time with him. He seems a very knowledgeable guy and also quite warm and charismatic, which generally works with players. Winning a trophy is difficult. Even if you have a good season, doesn't mean you necessarily win a trophy. You know, if they finish 6th in the Premier League, that's a lot better than last season, but fail on the trophy front, some might be disappointed. I think their biggest problem, Tottenham, is the fact that they're still a bit behind the big boys in the fact that the wage structure has not changed. You know, they're not able to compete for the same players that Liverpool try and sign or Man City try and sign, or even Man U to a degree, because they won't stretch maybe not so much Man U, but they won't stretch the budget to pay And if you're not paying the top dollar, you don't get the best players. So they'll always be the bridesmaid in that respect. They're not going to be able to win the league or win the Champions League.
Danny's got a point, hasn't he, David?
Yes,
even if they'd wanted to, Tottenham would never.
Well, money rules.
Spend 125
Although they did
million
nearly win it. They did nearly win it under par.
You've got everything is a comparative. If you look at the wonderful achievements of Palace last year, you know, with a team that was organised, that the regular players, a regular team, not too many constant changes, how well they did. That, to me, was very, very successful.
Yeah.
Had they not even won a cup,
yes,
it was a very successful season because they produced football which the crowds like to see, and they did well.
Do you think
Brentford too. I really enjoyed watching Brentford last year.
So that would have been an eye-opener.
And Brighton.
And Brighton, of course.
Do you think Tottenham will rue the day that Daniel left?
Will they rule the day? It depends who you're talking about. If you're talking about the end game for those that now have control over it and the direction of travel, maybe someone out of the way that they didn't need there anymore, possibly not, because they'll achieve their end game. They'll change the dimensions. They've made themselves hostage to fortunes. It's interesting they talked about a new era of success directly after the transfer window's closed, so that they can't do anything in the real time. They can do it in January, but I think they'll change their wage structure. I think some of the wage structure of 42% against turnover is so low against the other guys that it doesn't make you competitive. That will be to do with banking covenants. If they raise new cash, or Joe or whoever, the Lewis family, introduce new equity and do a rights issue and raise some cash, they can perhaps reduce some of the borrowing requirements they haven't changed their ratios. But it's all there. I mean, if I were buying a football club, I was a billionaire buying a football club, Spurs all day. If I was a Saudi ownership, I'd be selling Newcastle, flipping that football club and buying Tottenham Hotspur.
Interesting, very interesting. Because the ratio is important because the finance that's involved in taking a stadium, getting the money and attracting the money at a good rate of interest.
That's right.
Which Arsenal suffered, incidentally, with as well.
And they had Arsene Wenger.
And they had Arsene Wenger for 4 years or so. Whilst that stadium was being paid for, they weren't able to raise the budgets for the players.
Yeah.
So now...
It's banking covenants, David. And also one of the interesting things was when Arsenal raised that money for the stadium with David Dean, one of the covenants that the banks put on it was Arsene Wenger had to stay as manager.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's how deep it goes.
More from David, the other side of this break. We're David in studio, of course, with us this lunchtime ahead of the paperback release of his autobiography, Just One More Goal. That comes out later this month. More from David after this. And we're with you live with Selco, where the trade goes. The one and only David Pleat in studio with Simon, with Danny and myself at this lunchtime ahead of the paperback release of his autobiography, Just One More Goal. That's a hardback version. The paperback release this month, later this month. And to say this man has had a very interesting life in the world of football, is putting it mildly. Had so many roles, done so many things, and it's not over yet. And as I stress, this man has opinion and is not afraid in any shape or form to share that opinion with us. So let's do more on this, David, right now. Nothing surprises us in the game. Although I must admit, when I heard that Nuno Espirito Santo had been shown the door at Nottingham Forest this week, I thought, really? And then I thought of the impasse of late between himself and the owner, Evangelos Marinakis. What was your take on it? Were you surprised to hear it?
Well, if you're a manager and you're in the public domain and you're continually talking to the press, and sometimes you may talk a bit flippantly or make a mistake, to say what he said publicly and to get the supporters on edge like that and worried that there's no communication between the manager and the chairman was almost an own goal by Nuno. Maybe he was looking for an out, because obviously the circumstances of the club were such that they did so well last season. He might have been very, well, in hindsight we can say this, looking towards this season, maybe thinking, can we do as well? Will the criticism from the chair be even greater? Will the relationships get better? And I think more important than anything, I've had it with directors of football when I've been a manager. You bring someone like Edu, and he comes in and all of a sudden, who is really in charge? Who is really calling the shots? And I think Nuno felt that his responsibility was being diluted severely.
Did you struggle with that when it comes to structures within a club?
Well, I always try to be very fair. I mean, I remember when Glenn came in, and Glenn and me had slightly, in that 87 team, the wonderful team, Glenn had slightly, not at odds with each other, but the previous summer, he'd been promised by the chairman, an interesting story, that he could go free. And I persuaded him in Mexico to give me one more year. And to be fair to Glenn, he did, and he did very well before he went to Monaco. So he came in, and he was never, I don't think he was never that au fait with me personally. I've come from a smaller club to be accepted. It wasn't easy. But of course, after that, when Glenn came in as manager, I remember on the very first day when the change sugar went, Levy came in, Daniel came in, and Glenn came in as the new manager with John Gorman, and I gave him every possible help. But Glenn wasn't easy to get on with as a director of football, because Glenn was such a great person in a way. He was almost in awe of everyone, and what do you want? What do you want? Part of me? But when he was finding it difficult, then there was more consultation.
Yeah. The departure of Nuno. You're smiling, Simon, but you virtually concur to a word.
Yeah. I mean, I said it, didn't I? I think he engineered the outcome because he's not a foolish man. And for him to go into the media and say what he said, he knew it'd elicit a reaction. And maybe it's because there was a rumour, David, going around that the chairman was looking around anyway for someone else. And so all of those things, and with a new director of football that he may not have liked and felt that was encroaching upon his right to choose players, albeit that working for Nottingham Forest, I think it's been the staple diet. Marinakis has been alleged to choose the players for the last 5 or 6 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he should have known that going in there.
Yes.
But it's interesting. The thing I was laughing at was David's observation about a football person that is very independent when it's going well, but they're very susceptible to advice when it's not going so well. Yeah, that's the part I was laughing at, because it's very true.
Try and have a good relation. I mean, one of the secrets of football is have communication, and you've got to have a good attitude and atmosphere in the club, and it can never be toxic. And I think behind the scenes at Tottenham, and I'm going to say this, since the man Scott Munn has left, it will be much, much better. He came in, not from a football background, and behind the scenes, it wasn't au fait, really. Everyone wasn't happy.
So in comes Ange Postecoglou. Marinakis wants trophies. Nothing but trophies. Is Ange Postecoglou the man to deliver?
Well, the most fascinating thing will be to see how he plays his... he didn't coach much. He coached very little. He surveyed the coaching. He gave licence to the coaches, which was terrific, gave them responsibility, allowed them to do their thing. But he told them kind of what he wanted. But then they put it into practice. But his idea of the tactic of playing the high line, I thought at times was suicidal. Against very good players who can disguise a short diagonal pass, the amount of grass behind the back four at times is incredible. There was one particular game against Chelsea, I think it was Chelsea, when we went to 9 men and they were still playing on the halfway line, and I think it was...
I was at that game, yeah.
My word, it was. I think they scored another 2 or 3 goals. So he stuck to his principles, which is a credit to him.
Danny thinks now he'll adapt.
Yeah, he possibly will.
Only because I think, how can you not? You've got to learn something from that experience.
Yes, I would think so. He wasn't overly flexible, was he?
No, but near the end, to get the success, he changed, didn't he?
Yes, he changed to a certain extent. I mean,
for three or four games.
Yes, it's difficult. I mean, Forest have relied on the counter-attack very much so, but the supporters have accepted that because they've been winning.
Yeah,
they won't accept that. I think if you give the opposition the chance of the ascendancy with the ball, that they are dominating the ball, the crowd don't like it, particularly if you're at home. They don't like to see the away team having the ball all the time. They want you to take the bull by the horns.
Did you enjoy watching Ange's Tottenham play?
At times, not the last 4 or 5 sessions on a Sunday. I used to go on a Sunday to watch. I think it was Brighton, Fulham, Crystal Palace. Not the worst thing I should say was inferior teams, but teams that we should be able to beat, and we were getting beaten quite comfortably, regularly. Yeah, and I think we lost 17 games, didn't we, or something like that.
But Marinakis wants trophies, David. And at Celtic, Ange delivered trophies.
He might have to buy them in his own way. I don't know how he...
Now, you've done a bit of work for Celtic. You worry about the Scottish game?
Well, I see the standard of the Scottish game, and it's difficult for Celtic and Rangers because they can win continually, and then they come into a higher grade Europe, and then they've got to adapt. And unless you've got better players than in your... And it's with a lot of smaller countries, I say that with respect to Scotland, where the teams are winning easily in their leagues, easily, comfortably. They're in the Champions League year after year, but don't get any progress. And in the end, the Champions League are won by the biggest teams in the world. So it's very difficult. It's to do with money. I'm afraid it's to do with money. If you don't get the very best players, which cost the top dollar, it's very hard to succeed.
And they're shopping in a market that they're not able to attract.
They're shopping in Japan and Scandinavia under the radar, and they've done very well with some signings. But they don't shop particularly in Italy or France or Spain, where the players cost a little bit more money.
I always say this down here, but I know it goes over the heads of a lot of people. I'm not sure how relevant it is either these days, David. But you've been up there and you know Celtic. That is one massive club.
Oh, it's a wonderful club. I mean, the support is incredible. I mean, everyone knows it, the atmosphere at Celtic Park. But they've always had good Scottish players.
Yeah.
They've always had good Scottish players. You go back since the Lisbon Lions. They've always been... That's what they've been noted for, not necessarily foreign players. But they have a model and they're very sensible. They're well run, a bit like Tottenham has been very well run on the financial side. So that they've got a clear direction, but it can be... Can it be frustrating for a manager when you're continually winning and still get frustrated? I mean, you look at Brendan now, sometimes he looks a little bit frustrated. Maybe he's bored of winning.
I think many of the fans are not happy with what they're seeing either, David. When we come back, many England fans who made the trip last night to Belgrade in Serbia were very happy with what they saw last night under Thomas Tuchel. I wonder what David thought of it. We'll get into that next. It's 12:30.
stadium was built right next to a cherry orchard. Then there's Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were 2 local toffee shops. Ipswich Town nicked their nickname off their opponents in the late 90s, Birmingham. The term Tractor Boys was chanted as a way to tease the team about their farming background, but they started using it themselves as a way to cheer on the team in victory instead. Take that, Birmingham. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire's also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Crystal Palace's nickname came from an extreme makeover. They were having a nightmare run in the 70s, and when they were relegated, their manager, Malcolm Allison, wasn't having it. I know what'll make us better, he thought, a new nickname. The Strong and Deadly Eagle sounded like a pretty good bet. And there's more to that story. Brighton used Palace's nickname to inspire their own. Ooh, bird, they thought. Let's just pick a different one for us. And so, in a heated match between the two teams back in 1976, when Palace fans began chanting "Eagles, Eagles," Brighton fans had the perfect reply: "Seagulls, Seagulls." So next time the away ends chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
It is Wednesday lunchtime, just gone 12:30. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Danny Murphy. We're coming to you live on talkSPORT, and delighted to be so. Delighted that David Pleat is in studio with us, and so many of you getting in touch to say how much you enjoy watching the show. It's funny that, watching us on talkSPORT, but you're doing that, and you're watching us on your TV, Samsung, Fire TV, Chromecast, Android, Prime Video. We're all there for you, and you're there for us, and that makes us very, very happy. I mentioned David Pleat, former Tottenham, Leicester, Luton manager. I've known David for many years, and we've managed to persuade him to come back in ahead of the paperback release of his autobiography. Just one more goal. This was the hardback copy, and I strongly recommend it. It's a fantastic story of what has been a brilliant career. Interestingly, before going any further, how long did it take to put together?
I started it in COVID, really, for 4 years. 4 years, and I had a journalist, a very nice man up the north, who's done books on Kanchelskis, Brian Horton, Bielsa, and he dotted the I's and crossed the T's. But it was all my own work. I wrote every word. Now I did it handwritten. But of course, some events and some anecdotes I remembered, but I couldn't remember exactly the date. And he found out. You know how they do it. They look for the dates and then put a bit of colour in it. They might have said that was the week where Mrs. Thatcher was fighting the miners or whatever it was, just to give an idea of the time.
Brilliant. But you wrote it yourself, man after your own heart.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
You got another book coming out. You keep on telling me you're working on this. When am I seeing it?
Poking the Bear, it's called.
Poking the Bear. Okay, all right. Well, we watch for that on the shelves sometime soon. David, interestingly, England went to Serbia last night. Many people saying this morning a 0-5 result. Oh, that's pretty good at any time of the day or night. Was this the statement performance that England fans have been waiting for?
No, I think it was a good performance, a very efficient performance. But we get too high when we do well, and we get too low when we do badly. And that's the way the media is, and that's the way the people look at the game. I think we were okay last night. They were poor. They weren't anything like the Serbia of old.
Really poor,
really, yeah, certainly before the breakup of Yugoslavia, when Yugoslavia had some wonderful players.
Oh, yeah, well, Dejan Stojkovic played for them.
Absolutely. And, no, it was a good performance. I don't think listen, there was no mistakes. I mean, Pickford could sit on an armchair, can't he, when he plays in goal in some of these qualifying games? He doesn't have really anything to do.
Yeah.
So
can you judge for me this
to a certain
the
extent
transition from Southgate to Tuchel?
No, I can't particularly. No, whether there's a better spirit, that type of thing, you never know until you're in the camp with them. But they seem to respond to him, which is a good thing. They have the desire. He talks a lot about desire. One of the things that does concern me, he talks about we might have to think more about long throws and longer ball, and that disturbs me a little bit because we've still got to play against the top teams. You can't just have this 50-50 throwing the ball into the 6-yard box and have what I call fight ball. I don't see...
What's wrong with going direct?
It's all right very occasionally. A good player knows when to go direct and when to play short. What is a good player. That's what a good manager who knows when his teams are playing with the right selection of pass. So I don't think there's anything... Sometimes with the stats and all the marginal gains talk and all the data, we're getting confused. The game is still a basic, simple game. Ron Greenwood said simplicity is genius. Bob Paisley said pass it to the nearest red shirt. Brian Clough said, if I remember correctly, if God wanted the game to be played in the sky, he would have put the pitch there. Well, I like to follow those people. I think football is a beautiful game when it's played on the floor skillfully. But no, I mean, I veer away from the
No,
discussion.
I think many people would agree with you out there. One thing I want to get into you with today, before we go today, and I'm going to do it, damn it, player power. You know, Danny and I were on deadline day when the window closed, whenever it was, Dan, 7 o'clock last Monday night. Mark Gahey didn't get his move from Palace to Liverpool, but Gahey came through it all with a large degree of dignity, it's felt. But maybe others didn't. What do you make of the conduct of certain professional players today, David, in seemingly forcing through their moves? Now, we'll hear more from Alexander Isak now that he's back. Club football resumes this weekend. He got his move to Liverpool, 125 million quid. Didn't want to play for Newcastle again. Don't integrate me back into the senior squad.
I don't know he said that, but go on, we can't.
Players have always done that in their own way. This was very public and the controversy lasted for several days. I'll just tell you one story from my background where players forced issues. A very fine wing back I had at Sheffield Wednesday was the finest, Dan Petrescu. The agent came to me, the Romanian agent, who eventually went to jail, not surprisingly, came to see me one day, almost threatened me to say, Dan doesn't want to play here anymore. He wants to go to Chelsea and he's not going to try, more or less. I said... Anyway, in the end, the chairman, Mr. Richards, who was very friendly with Mr. Bates, ex-Chelsea, a deal was done. He more or less didn't want to play for Sheffield Wednesday anymore. So, in a way, they've always done it in a way, but in a different type of way. Now they've got the agents and the hangers-on all pushing them, particularly when they're out of the team. The manager doesn't select you. You need to go and see him, get a move. It's very difficult. Only 11 players can play. And there's a lot of disappointment with a lot of players who are getting some being protected by very good wages, of course. But players want to play, and sometimes I don't agree with George Eastham started it all off. I mean, years and years and years ago, the freedom of contract. But the clubs held the cards in those days. The players have a lot of power, and the clubs are partly to blame because they paid them so much money and given them long contracts as well at the biggest clubs.
I mean, even Isak, he's been on international duty with Sweden, sends out something of a cryptic message. Not everyone has a full picture, but that's something for another day.
Yes, but even anyone can say that. Tell us what the full picture is. And let the other team, the other people who he's talking about, have their say. That's like a comment which is slightly unfair because he's kind of accusing people without saying who they are and what the circumstances are. Any player can say that I had a promise. Who promised? When did they promise? If it's not in writing, forget promises.
But with him at Liverpool now, and Ekitike is there, and Florian Wirtz. We spoke about Wirtz to Danny. Danny thought this guy could be a world beater at Liverpool. Is their name on another title?
They have a wonderful chance, as probably a better chance starting this season than people would have foreseen their chances at the start of last season. So I think they've improved their squad overall. But they seem to be able to move the forwards. When they had Mane, for example, one thought, what will they do without Mane when he left? If they're clever recruiters, they can recruit the best.
Yes.
And continually, it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
They may lose very good players, but they continue to get. And of course, their net receipts from transfers is very good.
I don't want to ruin your lunchtime here with us in talkSPORT. What has happened to your beloved Luton Town? Successive relegations.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a couple of things. I think when there was at Bournemouth, the centre-back had the heart attack, and that was a big thing. And I think it affected the club very much, surprisingly. He was a leader. He was a big voice in the dressing room. And the club lost its way. Then the following Tom, and then the following season, I think they lost some creativity in the team, and they couldn't pick it back. When they were in the Premier League, believe it or not, they lost a lot of games, but very narrowly against big teams. So there has been a demise, but hopefully this year, I would think now they'd be confident that it'll be challenging in the top 6 the whole season. Whether they can get promotion, we'll just have to see. I hope so.
Why they drop like a stone? I mean, you tend to drop like a stone when there's disarray in the boardroom. You saw Sunderland. Ellis Short didn't want to be there anymore. Sunderland. You saw Sheffield Wednesday happen to Sheffield Wednesday. And you've seen it happen to Leeds when Batesy was there and pre-packing it in and out of administration. Why have Luton just gone bang?
Well, when they went down, some of the players who'd done relatively well in the Premiership thought they were better than the Championship, so they wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Then there was disputes over the players, and they kept players who were unhappy because they'd been denied the opportunity of leaving. So that was the reason. Then they stopped firing up front, where the boy Morris and Aridid did quite well even in the Premier League. And they lost that player. Barkley did very well for them. Make no mistake. He was the man who made the chances.
And the little winger.
Yeah, he's clever, disguised passes. And they lost that, and I don't think they've ever found... Funnily enough, Asgard, the boy from Wigan, looked a useful player, but evidently he had some clause in his contract where he could be sold at the same figure they'd bought him from Wigan, so he's gone to Glasgow Rangers. He was quite a clever player.
Oh, yes, he's up there. Who's the fellow at Celtic that we should watch for?
At Celtic?
You mentioned a lad's name to me.
At Celtic? No, there's a young boy, Callum Osman, from Fulham. That's the only English boy they've taken this pre-season.
That's the one,
well, he'll be cover, and he's a sharp striker. He's a Welsh boy. Did very well at academy level and just felt the pathway in England, as many of them do now, but most of them migrate to Germany or France or Belgium, lower leagues, and then they come back 2 or 3 years later. Madueke is one of the best examples, incidentally. He was at Tottenham as a kid.
Yeah. Any part of the game you miss being a part of? Because you've done everything, Dave.
Oh, yes. I think you just haven't got the energy, though. I mean, Danny would tell you that. I don't know if Danny could still do it. But if you love football and you've got some kind of brain and you can help players, you'd love to be on that training ground. The best thing is playing, obviously. And if you weren't a top player, the second best thing for sure is being still in that environment on the field with the players. It's a wonderful life. There's no question about that. To be involved you're lucky. You're blessed to be involved in football.
David, good luck again with the book. As I mentioned before, just one more goal. And this is obviously the hardback version of it. The paperback version is out later this month. The autobiography of David Pleat. It is a great read. David, as always, got to say to you, thank you so much for coming in today. And just the knowledge you impart is terrific.
Well, I don't think I impart any knowledge, but I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk to you. I like talking football, you see.
I like it that you do. When you're stuck with these two for a considerable period of time. David Pleat with us live on talkSPORT, courtesy of Selco. It's where the trade goes. Wow, so many of you getting in touch this lunchtime saying how much you enjoyed listening to David Pleat. David joined us there since 12 noon, and it seemed to go like that. Simon, what about that for a view on every aspect
he's
of the game?
encyclopedic, isn't he? And the enthusiasm level, the more he warms to the subject, the more you get.
Yeah.
You know, when he was talking about a young player at Coventry, he's raving about some young player, and you just get the level of... When you listen to guys that have been through the things that he's been through in terms of the clubs he's been at, the experiences he's had, they're a fascinating listen, which would make his book a fascinating read, I suspect.
Very much so. Overnight, and one of his good pals got in touch with me. I'm talking about Steve Cooper, former Nottingham Forest manager, of course, former Leicester City manager. For those who don't know, Steve Cooper has decided his future for the time being at least lies abroad, and he's taken over as head coach at Brøndby in Denmark. He feels he's coached in the Championship. He feels that Brøndby offers something completely different rather than hanging around here, and it would be a bit more...
away to Palace, couldn't it? It's owned by David Blitzer.
Oh, right. Oh, interesting point. I mean, what's your take on that, Danny, when you hear that Steve Cooper was offered a number of Championship jobs over the summer, but wants to get into an area that's a bit different, literally, and has gone to Danish football?
I like it. Yeah, he wants to be part of something successful. They're going to be competing to win the title there. It's a wonderful stadium, decent fan base.
You played there?
No, but I've been there. I've seen it. Yeah,
yeah.
It's a brilliant place, and I think more credit to him for being open-minded enough, because I'm sure he'll have to. Well, not necessarily learn a new language, but probably will. Let's not forget when he left Leicester, the catastrophe of that season. They weren't in the relegation.
What do you think of his currency? I think he's
pretty good.
Do you?
Yeah, because
but as a Premier League manager, I don't know for years. In the Championship, I think that Leicester damaged him, and it was really that Leicester fans weren't having him at all, were they?
Well, he got Forest out of the Championship, so obviously he succeeded in the Championship.
But instantaneously he was under pressure at Forest, wasn't he?
But he kept him in the league.
He kept him in the league,
which is credit to him.
Absolutely.
I know he had good backing, and they had a lot.
But I'm talking about his currency now from an employment point of view, because I think it's great that he's gone to Brøndby and he's prepared to expand his horizons and look at different coaching and look at different opportunities and learn his trade even wider and far reaching. It's not a fantastic environment, is it, to go? It's not one of the elite leagues, so he's not enhanced. He's not landing in whether it's the Eredivisie or Serie A or La Liga. He's not going to one of those leagues.
Yeah.
So it's a real kind of downward move.
Maybe it feels to me like there's a degree of thinking. Well, I've worked for years now with restriction in terms of the clubs he's been at.
Yeah.
Maybe there he feels they're one of the powerhouses of that league, so he can show off a different.
It's a bit Liam Rosenior to Strasbourg, isn't it? It's a bit. Is it a bit like that?
Not really.
You're planning your trade in another country.
Well, yeah, you gain experience from going to another country.
But the one is out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, but going with respect to Tuna Ilikali, going from Hull to Strasbourg, you can see that move for Liam, albeit that Liam was binned at Hull, and I think unfairly so. But there is an interest, because again, I make this point. I'm not trying to be Machiavellian. There was an interest in Cooper in Palace 2 or 3 years ago. Glasner is not going to be at Palace in a year's time. As much as I may want him to be, as much as, the opportunities to keep thriving under him will clearly be there, he's not going to be at Palace. He's got a year left. I'll be gobsmacked. I hope he is, and I hope I'm wrong. Right? But given the fact that he's barely been backed, given the fact that it's going to be very difficult for him to replicate, despite the fact he's a top-quality manager, what he's achieved last year, it's a distinct possibility that he's going to be on his way from Palace. And given the fact that Cooper was liked by Palace, it wouldn't be beyond the wit of man to put him into Bromby, get Bromby going for a year, and then move him out of Bromby into Palace, because Blitz is the intellectual capital behind both to some extent.
That's a good point. But from Steve Cooper's point of view, he's going to be
ownership.
You'd think he's going to be dominating more games than not with the team and squad he's got there. They're one of the bigger hitters.
Yeah.
So he can coach a bit differently than what he's had to do at Leicester and Forest. And let's not forget when he was in charge of the England youth team, the younger lads that won the World Cup or Euros, whatever it was.
Yeah.
He had a group of these talented players that he was working with who could go out and dominate most games. So it's a different...
So Cooper, nothing to lose but a lot to gain.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We'll watch for him. Brøndby, and of course, Copenhagen.
Good luck to him.
The big threat there in terms of winning the domestic title. We'll keep an eye on that. Danny, as always, thanking you, my friend.
Pleasure.
As for you, I'm going to thank you, Luke. Yeah, sit up. No, thank you. Thank you very much, Simon.
You're welcome. Anytime.
You were quite fab today.
See you tomorrow.
And to David Pleat, thank you for joining us. David Pleat with us during that last hour. We're back tomorrow at 10. In the meantime, this Wednesday lunchtime, coming up to 1 o'clock.